Yes, I'm so excited about this. It's going to be awesome. You there, Faith?
Can you hear me, CK?
Yep, I can. All right, let me stop this. Let me stop this. All right, yes. So everybody, welcome to the party. I'm really excited about this. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I can't wait because you know what? This is my chance to say I told y'all so.
Yeah, so today was a lot of bullshit panels, trash panels. People thought they were doing something, same old dumb shit. And we're gonna call it out because basically this is a roast. And I'm glad that you agreed to do this with me because I know you want to get a lot of I told you so's out there. And hopefully people roll through that you can say it straight to their face. If not, they could watch on the replay. So if you are new to our channels, please subscribe, click the bell, ding the dong, bing the bong, all that great stuff. And first and foremost, anyone who has a problem with what's going to be said on this broadcast, here's the first fuck you of the night, because that's exactly the attitude we have for a lot of the black men who have been on these panels, even the hosts, the content creators who have been dragging black women, saying that what we're about to show you as far as the video was the black woman's fault because she was out late, because she was a woman and didn't have a man with her. So first and foremost, fuck you, and thank you very much. So any words before we show this beautiful bead footage?
No, I just wanted to reiterate fuck all y'all.
Yeah, they could basically catch a dick and that's it. Catch a dick and basically like the words
And
of
go suck a fat cat ass.
in the words of Willie D, mama should have swallowed, daddy should have pulled out. All right, so there's a video that we're going to be showing you all as the reason why we have so much vitriol. And that is, it was a Harlem liquor store situation where a woman turned the guy down and he bit her eye out. And we were going to talk about a lot of the panels that have covered this. I've seen a couple of them, and a couple of people had garbage responses. We'll do all that. But first, we're going to share this, show you all the video, and we'll come back with the commentary.
Harlem when a woman who was just trying to buy a bottle of wine.
She says that it happened after she turned down one man's offer to pay for her. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner spoke exclusively with the victim.
Surveillance video shows a group outside this liquor store as a woman walks in alone just before 6 p.m. Monday. The 31-year-old mother says she was buying a bottle of wine after work when two men walked in the shop on West 128th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. She says the man in the red offered to pay.
I politely declined and I said, no, thank you, but thank you. Could pay for it myself. And I got ready to walk out. Before I walk out, he basically said that he felt like I thought that I was better than them.
The men followed her out, she says, asking what did she want to do about it.
I just asked him, I said, you're seriously trying to fight me? I'm trying to go about my business.
She says they chased her across the street, kicking her, and one man actually bit her forehead, leaving deep
Brutal attack in Harlem when a woman who was just trying to
wounds. She says he tried to bite her eye out. Others kicked her.
To bite me and do that, maul me the way that he did, with me screaming and saying that I'm just trying to get my daughter, that's an animal.
Wounds. She says he tried to bite her eye out.
Oh. All right. So the key thing that we want you all to understand about this, or that we want to communicate first and foremost before really getting into this, is the fact that she turned him down and he asked her, do you think you're better than us? So you all are animals, bottom feeders, lower, upper echelon of society, low intelligence. And they were animals trying to kick her, chase her, bite her eye out. And not only were these animals, these bottom feeders, not only should we put them down, but we should also put down two other groups that rarely get smoke. The first group were the people who were there, who sat around and watched or laughed and did nothing. And they probably were men. The second group are people who excuse and they try to explain away as to why this is acceptable or this is a product of the system or the white man, all the excuses and explaining away as opposed to just saying that these black men were just some niggas that should be hanging from a tree like strange fruit or need to be put down. So that's the line that we're drawing in the sand tonight, in that you are either for the community or you're against it. Point blank, period. If you're trying to make excuses, trying to make peace, trying to pray, we don't want to hear none of that shit. Because you niggas can die niggas can die right with them. Point blank, period. I'm not going to hog the mic the entire time. Faith, you got anything?
Yeah, I just want to also add that to the fact that there are also women in the community that also make it bad, because there are women in this community that will sit up here and say things like, well, you know what? It's part of the culture. You know, I get harassed on the street too. I don't think there should be any laws against street harassment. I have actually been on panels with other black women who have said this to me on their channels. I talk about street harassment all the time here and on other panels. I talked about how I thought that street harassment was the precursor to violence. And I had other black women tell me that they didn't think that it should be outlawed. And you are the problem too. You are also guilty of making the environment unsafe because you coddle these Pookies and Ray Rays. You're more concerned about their freedom of speech than you're concerned about the safety of these women, children, elderly, and disabled. The precursor of violence on the street in our neighborhoods is always street harassment. Now, it was okay for them to approach the young lady in a respectful manner and offer to pay for her drink. And when she politely said no, that should have been the end of it. But here's where the harassment comes in. And this is where I keep telling you guys, street harassment is the precursor to violence. Because they went and harassed her saying things like, you think you better than me, huh? That is harassment. And then right after the verbal harassment came the physical harassment. And so now I'm sitting here on the panel and I'm going to say, I told you bitches so a long time ago. I told you bitches. But you were too busy trying to be picnicias, wanting to be part of the boys club, that you couldn't see the forest for the trees. Now I told you so. But like I said, I'm not going to hog the mic. Let's go ahead and get into the commentary. CK, what's the first bullet point?
First bullet point, kind of like piggybacking off what you were just saying, content creators who let bullshit on their panels are trash. And what I mean by that is, so today there was a panel. There was a stream where there was a guy who was saying, well, she should have had a man with her. She shouldn't be out at night. And she shouldn't be out in a shady neighborhood, you know, making a whole bunch of excuses as opposed to just saying these were fucking animals. See, the thing is, I agree that the catcalling, the trying to be upset that a woman turns you down, insecure, low vibration bitches are the ones that get upset when a woman turns them down. And they're no better, or the people who are standing around listening to that or watching it and not intervening are bitches too. That's the reason why the community is the way it is. And when people are on panel, especially content creators who are the channel owner, when they hear that someone is going along the lines of blaming the Black woman for what happened to her, and she's the victim, and they don't cut it off, they don't cut the person off who's trying to get that whole statement out, or they let the person talk, or they don't check them, they don't regulate them, they are just as bad as the person who bit her, kicked her, or is saying all this garbage on the panels. And that's the reason why the Black communities are the way they are, because you got a bunch of people who would sit around watching and not intervene. And last year, there were a bunch of people who went on panels and they were saying that I'm not going to jump in and save a woman unless she's my woman and she does something for me, because I don't want to risk my life. So when you look the other way when a crime is happening, all you're doing is letting the criminals, the bottom feeders, the parasites, you letting them know that it's okay to commit a crime. Because sooner or later, they're going to commit more crimes, and then you're living in a cesspool. And the cesspool that you're living in is a product of not just the people who have caused it to be a cesspool, but you who have sat around and done nothing and been a coward.
And I just want to add, for the people that are just coming in, we're talking about the young lady that was assaulted by a group of men at a convenience store, simply because she turned down his offer to buy her a bottle of wine at the store. The guy said that she thought that she was better than him, and then they proceeded to assault her, biting her in her eye, trying to bite her eye out. They were animals. They were acting like rabid, savage animals. And there were actually people, men on panels today, blaming her because she went out late at nighttime. She shouldn't have went out late at nighttime.
They're also,
and then in this video, I just want to say, fuck all y'all who think that way. Fuck all y'all.
And fuck the content creators who hosted the panels and streams and let stuff be said and didn't check the person, didn't kick them off the panel, and didn't do enough to basically communicate that this behavior should not be tolerated. See, we should have a zero tolerance when it comes to the debauchery. We should have a zero tolerance when it comes to people who want to victimize others. And we're not going to allow anyone to change the subject, to talk about, well, what about the Black men, or what about the Black boys? No, fuck that. Tonight's subject is Black men who are apes, park apes, monkeys, chimping out and hitting Black women with skateboards when they get turned down, picking them up and throwing them in dumpsters, trying to bite their eye out, and the people who will try to excuse it away, talking about the white man, the system, this and that. No, we're not with that bullshit tonight. And
no, we're not with none of that bullshit tonight. Y'all can go and suck a whole bunch of dicks and fat cat asses and everything else, because we're not trying to hear none of that bullshit.
And the problem is that we're complaining about Black communities. We're complaining about the collective, but we're sitting back, not doing anything to fight against it. And someone will come up here and say, well, I do this and that in my community. Well, what do you do when you're on a panel and people are saying genocide to all Black women? What are you saying? What are you saying in the comments?
They're silent.
They're silent. Exactly. They're still supporting people. They're still going on panels. They're still being kumbaya, and they're not standing on the square, because they're just as bad as the people who are kicking and biting women and also going around spreading hate speech. That's exactly what you all are doing with these panels and these streams. Even those who are saying, you know what, I'm gonna be a passport bro, let the community burn. No, we should set you on fire and let you burn, because you're garbage. So
I just want to say, in the words of Martin Luther King, since his birthday did just recently pass, in the words of Martin Luther King, silence is betrayal. And when you allow people in the community to do toxic things and say toxic things in your presence, and it goes unchallenged, then you have contributed to the violence in the environment. You're just as guilty.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you have anything for this previous point, but we can roll on to the next one, which is in the same vein that street harassment should be illegal. And just like what Faith was saying, there's people who have had panels who have said, well, you mean to tell me you want to lock people up for harassing people in the street? Yes, you should be locked up for harassing people in the streets. Because when it boils down to it, everything starts off small before it escalates. So if you nip it in the bud, it won't get to a point where people are kicking people and biting people and getting slaps on the wrist. If anything, less people would be in danger if there was more strict laws to stop things before they balloon and get out of control. So street harassment should be illegal. People should be gentlemen when trying to approach women, and they should be genuine. The men in the store offering to buy her wine, what he really wanted, he wasn't going to buy her the wine. If she was going to be like, yeah, you could buy the wine, he probably was going to call her a broke bitch or do something. They had plans to do nothing but harm her, and they probably would have gang raped her if something wouldn't have happened to intervene, or something stopped them from going further than just biting. Because if you think about it, he put his mouth on her, which means he got up close and personal. So he probably was trying to pin her down with everybody else, but she fought. And so out of frustration that he couldn't get her clothes off fast enough, or he couldn't get everything off, he bit her. Because if you think about it, what would prompt someone to bite someone unless they were frustrated that what he wanted to do, she stopped him from doing it? And see, that's the reason why when it comes to intervening, this could be your daughter, this could be your sister, this could be your significant other, this could be someone important to you, or it could be you. So defending this behavior, explaining it away, saying, well, it happens to me, it happens to all of us, is no big deal. What's no big deal is the fact that you're trash and you should be eliminated. You should no longer exist. You should no longer be alive. You're basically garbage, and you're a part of the problem.
And here's another thing, Black men are always talking about Black women being submissive. They're always talking about they want more feminine women. But how can we be more submissive, and how can we be more feminine in a volatile environment? You always say that you don't have any type of, how can I say, you don't have, you're not responsible for women that are not your wives, your sisters, or that don't belong directly to you, your daughters. You always say that. But in the same token, you want women who are not your wives, your sisters, and your daughters to be submissive. Make that make sense. If you're not responsible for women who are not your wives, your sisters, and your daughters, then why is it that so many Black women are being attacked? Because we don't feel like we owe you anything either. We don't owe you a smile. We don't even owe you our time. We don't have to stop and talk to you. We don't have to accept your advances. The same way you don't feel like you owe us anything, we don't owe you anything if we don't know you.
So for those of y'all who are asking, this is the woman who was attacked at the Harlem liquor store after turning a guy down. And this is one of many stories that happens where women or Black women are being thrown in dumpsters, hit with skateboards, a whole host of different things when they turn a guy down. See, no is a complete sentence. And the fact that these guys are cussing these women out and cussing out any woman and trying to attack and call themselves trying to harm somebody, the problem is they don't want to hear they don't want to hear the word no, which means you're basically dealing with people who are going to assault sooner or later because they don't like to hear the word no. They don't like to be rejected. And we can't play with these animals. We can't play with these monkeys. So if you're out and you see something, intervene. Because if you don't intervene, what ends up happening is that one crime that the person perpetrates, that criminal is going to do another crime, and it's going to balloon, and it's going to become greater and greater and escalate to where it goes from biting women to sexually assaulting women to setting women on fire, and now they're putting graffiti on your neighborhood, and your whole neighborhood's going to trash.
Exactly.
When it
And
comes-
also intervening does not mean physically intervening. Even if you just call the police, just secretly say, hey, you know what? There's something going on over here on this corner. Somebody needs to come and help this woman. That right there is a form of you helping and intervening and making the community safer.
And the thing
But
about
go
it is,
ahead.
those of you all who are like, I don't want, those of
Mhm.
you all who are like, I don't want to work with the police, I don't want to deal with Popo. You got to understand that police, they're emergency personnel, they're first responders, but the first line of defense is you. You are the first line of defense. So if you're not working with law enforcement, if you're not trying to, patrol and protect the people in your neighborhood, in your community, and you're just looking the other way and you're like, well, I'm not going to jump in and help her because she doesn't do anything for me. You are just as bad as the person who is committing the offense against everybody, meaning you're the bitch. You're the hoe ass nigga. You're the problem. And eventually we're going to open the panel up and see who comes up and who wants to explain it away. But don't be surprised if we let you know that you're a little bitch, that you ain't shit, and you're less than a man, because somebody who's a man would not be afraid, would not live in fear, would not be thinking, well, I don't want to put myself in harm's way. Well, that's just it. If you want to be a little bitch, then be a little bitch. At least have the decency to let us know exactly what you are and who you are, as opposed to blaming the white man and blaming this and blaming that for the reason why your community is a piece of shit. Go ahead.
Exactly, CK, because like I said yesterday, I was at the UPS store picking up a package, and there was a little Asian woman that had just walked out of the store, and then another Asian lady came running behind her frantic. And she's going, hey, hey, wait, wait, wait. Now, all she was doing was trying to catch up to her friend. But the white man that was in another shop adjacent to theirs saw the Asian lady running frantically, screaming, and he thought something was wrong. And he immediately came out of his store and said, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? I hate the whole comparison to other races, but I will say that other groups, they do more to make sure that their community and the environment that their community and their women and children are in are a lot safer than we do. The men respond quickly with more care and concern when they see women in distress than our men do. That's a problem. And that guy looked at me, this white man, he looked at me, he said, Miss, are you okay? I was not used to that. I couldn't believe someone was asking me if I was okay. Because where I come from in Chicago, nobody cares if you're okay. The men don't ask you. When women are crying and screaming and running and looking like they're in distress, nobody comes out and asks if everything's okay.
And so we got to ask ourselves, why do most of us, when we get money, why do we go move to a mixed race neighborhood or a predominantly white neighborhood, or quote unquote the good side of town, because our sides of town are usually shit. And it's not because we inherited dirty things or inherited stuff that was substandard. We made it like that. And see, it's 2021. We got to stop blaming the crack era. We got to stop blaming rap music. Got to stop blaming the gangs. The one thing we need to blame is the people who are around right now. We got to stop making excuses. And one thing is the fact that, you know, next bullet point, the Pygmishas making excuses for Pookie and Ray Ray add to the hood looking like fucking garbage. There's people out here who they're working towards getting reparations. Outstanding. However, more money is not going to change the mindset and the mentality of the people who are currently garbage, who are currently in the communities. It's not going to change the people who look the other way and who are silent and afraid and cowards. More money is not going to change anything. So it's like, yeah, it's great you're working on reparations and you're marching the street for George Floyd and different type of, offenses that happen. But what about the stuff that goes on with the people who are selling drugs, the people who are prostituting, the people who are doing stuff? You know, where's the outrage for those people? Because if anything, you should be against everything in your community, not picking and choosing. See, the reason why people are going after cops right now is because they know they can get the cops fired. And when the cops get fired, the cops go away. But no one has any smoke for the Bloods and Crips or the drug dealer or the people who are thugging, who are huddled around, you know, doing street harassment, the Pookie, the Ray Rays, even the people who are educated lames who are also committing crimes. It doesn't matter what label you give them. When we look the other way and we don't check them, whether online, on panels, or in person, we become bitches. And we, being passive, are the reason why the communities are in the shape that they're in right now. Go ahead.
Exactly. And you women that sit up here and you laugh when men are sitting up here calling other women bitches, they're dressing them down, talking about how they look. When you sit back and laugh when these men do this, you're making the environment bad too. There's nothing more disgusting than women who take delight when they see other women hurting. You're disgusting. And not only do I see it in real life, but I see it online on these YouTube panels. When men are attacking other women, just talking about their looks. That is a form of street harassment in the online form. I had a guy chase me down to another woman's panel just to degrade and talk about me. And those women sat there and did nothing. They were disgusting. They were disgusting. You know, I get so sick and tired of, like CK said, we use the excuse, white supremacy. Well, the reason why they act like that is because of white supremacy. The reason why we don't want to call the police is because we don't want to send our own to jail. But I say, fuck all that. If our own is committing crimes against our own, they deserve to be in jail. And that's the broken mindset that we need to change amongst our group. That somehow it's wrong to call the police on each other when we're doing wrong to each other. They absolutely deserve to go to jail, and they need to sit in there and rot. They definitely don't need to be let loose on the rest of society. That is for sure. But I'm sorry, CK, go ahead.
Well, even with the panels, so even though people are online on panels just talking, you don't know who's listening, you don't know who you're influencing, and the things that are being said and allowed to be said that influences someone, whether on the panel in the audience or watching on replay, and they get the idea to go out and hurt somebody. So it's like this. We've talked about we all got to come together. We've talked about unity for 2021. it needs to be no prisoners. If you all want to clean up your community, the best way you could do it is when you see something, you need to eliminate the threat. Because if you look the other way, if you make excuses, if you continue to, blame stuff that has nothing to do with the actual problem at hand, what you're doing is you're allowing cancer to grow. See, when it comes to cancer, you can't play around with it. You have to eradicate it immediately or you lose the whole limb. And a lot of you all have let cancer spread, and that cancer, that disease has turned into something that is uncontrollable, and you've basically lost all your communities. So we have nobody to blame but ourselves because we didn't want to eliminate the cancer at the first sign. And that's the thing. And it goes down to the next point. The animals need to be put down or caged. The days of saying, well, I don't want my brother to be locked up. Nah, fuck that. If you're not going to put him down or work with others to put him down, if he's committing these crimes, especially against Black women, he's got to be caged. It's either A or B, because most of the time the crimes against, let's say, Black women and children, they're proximity crimes, where it's Black people doing things to Black people. Now, we don't give a fuck about what system created what, or they're in a scarcity mindset because they have a lack of resources. Fuck that. They made a choice. So the animals need to be put down or caged. That's the line in the sand that you must draw. And this is not about hating people or hating our own. This is the fact that we love our own, but we no longer want cancers to erode the beautiful people and children that are in our communities. You are either with improving the community or against it. Go ahead.
Exactly. Because one thing's for sure, when you go into a lot of these other communities, they are policing their communities. When they see you walking around, you could not be doing anything. Trayvon Martin wasn't doing anything in that community. He was just walking. And yet, who was policing the community? Zimmerman. And I'm not saying Zimmerman was right or anything like that, but what I am saying is he sure in the hell was policing the hell out of his community. We don't do that in our communities. We don't pay attention to who's coming in, who's coming out. If we see something, we don't report it. We have stupid rules like snitches get stitches. And all of that contributes to making the environment unsafe. Wouldn't you like to live in a neighborhood that's quiet? Wouldn't you like to live in a neighborhood that you can walk to the corner back and forth and not have to worry about cat calling or someone saying anything inappropriate to you? Would you like to live in a community where you're not worried about crime or somebody knocking you over the head? I know I would. But unfortunately, in order for me to get that, I had to move away from my people. I'm now living in a state where there's hardly any Black people in order to feel that. That's a shame. And it's so ironic. I'm going to tell you, and I don't care what it sounds like. But the area that I live in, this beautiful, quiet area, now all of a sudden, there's been an influx of people from Chicago moving here to Arizona. Black people. And do you know the crime in the area began to go up immediately when they came? So you cannot tell me that we don't make our own environments terrible. We make our own environments hell for ourselves everywhere we go.
And so moving on to the next point, niggas need to go to jail and prison.
Yes.
We got to stop with trying to show mercy. especially if you really mean to do good. Now, some of you all who are passive and you're trying to kind of sit on the sidelines, you'll watch something go down and you'll be like, well, I don't want to get involved. I'm scared. If you're scared and you're a coward, you're a part of the problem. If you sit back and watch and do nothing, you're a part of the problem. If you don't want to work with law enforcement, you're a part of the problem. If anytime somebody does work with law enforcement or they do fight back and you go up to them and try to warn them that going against, big meat and whoever is in the hood is gonna get them into serious trouble or get them hurt, you're a part of the problem. If you're not with the people trying to eliminate the cancer, you're a part of the problem. So there's a comment. So Cool Gent 87 says, at Faith Factor, I miss when the older Black people had our backs. Sad that we are at the worst I've ever seen. Now, you see, the thing about it is the days of us wanting and needing someone else to have our backs is over. We got to have our own backs. See, we're no longer kids. We've grown. Most of us, when it comes to Faith's channel and my channel, we 30 plus. So living in the past about 1850s, 1950s talking points, that stuff's got to end because we grown. It's our community now. So if you're like, well, the older people this, older people that, no, they old. Whatever they did and didn't do, that's on them. But we here now, we're the able-bodied and we're the ones that should turn things around. And the best thing you could do individually is make the first step and make the first decision that you're no longer going to tolerate the criminal element. So Faith, did you want to say anything as far as a response to Cool Gent?
Yeah, as far as what Cool Gent said, he says at Faith Factor, I miss when the older Black people had our backs, said that we are at the worst I've ever seen. Well, here's the thing that I think that he means by that, because there is a little bit of truth in that. Now, the older Black people, I think that they did drop the ball. They did. And yes, you're right. You're absolutely right, Cool Gent. They should have led by example. They should have. They did drop the ball. But you know what? We can't dwell on woulda, shoulda, coulda, because that's not going to help the situation. Hindsight is 20/20, right?
Right.
So now that we know what we're dealing with, we need to just come up with the solutions. And the solutions that we've been coming up with, this whole snitches get stitches, and oh, I'm not going to get involved with that because it's not my business. That ain't my wife. That ain't my woman. That ain't my daughter. I don't care. It ain't happening to me. None of that helps. Because every time you turn your back, when you see something happening in your neighborhood where you live, where your daughters live, where your wife lives, every time you do that, there's about 10 other men that's going to turn their back when it's happening to you and yours. And then you're going to wonder why nobody did nothing. Nobody said nothing. Nobody called the police. See, it's funny when it's you and you want somebody to help. It's not funny when it's you. But go ahead, CK.
The next bullet point is, and a lot of people will go on and on and on about system. So the next one is this, and that is fighting. Hold on, let me fix this. We don't want no grammar errors. Fighting a system, government, and mentality that no longer exists. So going on and on and on about systemic racism. We know it exists. Going on and on and on about what happened in the 1850s, 1950s. We know it happened. We don't need a history lesson every time a problem gets started. Because trying to figure out why we're here, We're done with that. We're done with the history lessons. We got to focus on moving upward and forward. So the question I have to everyone in the audience, and whenever the panel gets opened up, those who come up, is what are you going to do individually, personally, to change or improve your situation in your community? Now, if you live somewhere where it's like, you know, basically ritzy, and you live in a place where it's really, really nice, outstanding. But where did you come from? What are you going to do about that place where you come from? Because you still got friends and family there. Or if you don't, if you don't have an answer for either one of those, what about some of these panels? I got it. We like toxic and dysfunction. That's what brings the numbers in. But guess what? You still got to clean it up eventually. Hold the content creators liable, responsible. Especially if something is being said on a panel where they're saying something that's anti-Black woman, and the content creator is just sitting there silently or passive about it, call them out on it or stop supporting. Because if you don't, and you sit back and you're like, it's not my job, not my business, I don't control him and his channel or her and her channel, you're a bitch. You're a hoe. And you're a part of the problem. Even though you're not the one biting eyes and you're not the ones making anti-Black woman comments, you're just as bad as the system, government, and mentality that everybody preaches against that no longer exists. And we got it. Stuff is going on right now. But right now we're talking about people getting hit upside the head with skateboards, people getting picked up and thrown in dumpsters, people getting their, bit in the eye, or even in Crown Heights when you got 21 Black men stomping out a 16-year-old, and you got people online who are like, well, I got beat down as well. She'll shake it off and she'll be all right. No, she probably has post-traumatic stress disorder, and she has.
Yeah, I remember the content creator that you're talking about that said that it was a Black woman.
Exactly.
Oh, I got beat down myself. That's part of the culture. We always explain away the bad things as being part of the culture. Culture is not something that's bad, by the way. I'm so sick and tired of Black people attributing horrible things as being part of our culture. Culture is actually something that's good, not something that's bad. So we got to get that out of our vocabulary. And then also ghetto, ratchetness, that is a mindset. Some of you are ghetto and ratchet and don't even know. And no, just because you can talk the proper King's English don't make you not ghetto or ratchet. Just because you can enunciate a few sentences or speak without cursing don't mean that you're not ghetto and ratchet. Ghetto and ratchet is what it does. If you're a female and you're surrounded by men who are constantly putting down other Black women and you're laughing and you're entertained by it, you're ghetto and ratchet. And if you are a man that takes delight in doing these things, you're ghetto and ratchet. So we have actually seen ghetto ratchetness many times on this online space, but we either don't know what it is or we don't care. Because a lot of you are walking around ghetto ratchet and unaware that you're ghetto and ratchet. And then
So
you'll
the
look
next
at
point,
somebody like, hold on, and then you'll look at somebody like me and say, why are you so angry, Faith? Faith, why are you so angry? Oh, you're just loud. You're ghetto and ratchet. No, simply being loud doesn't make you ghetto and ratchet. Ghetto and ratchet is what it does, what you do. This is what all of you, and I want to emphasize this point for a reason. It's how you act and how you carry yourself is what make you ghetto and ratchet. And a lot of you are ghetto and ratchet and don't even know. Go ahead, CK.
The next point is selling out so your children don't have to. Now, not a lot of y'all are in the streets, I guess, hustling, doing your thing. You're hurting your community. And just saying the fact that, you had to do what you got to do to survive. You don't have to do anything illegal. You don't have to push poison to your own people to survive and prosper. You could do gig jobs. You could actually do honest work. You could do a whole plethora of different things besides commit a crime to try to get money to justify it to yourself, when all you really want to do is basically you just don't want to work hard. You just want to be lazy. And some people will say, well, that's selling out. But here's the thing, living on the straight and narrow, as opposed to doing it when you're forced to, like you're on probation from being released from jail or prison. Staying on the straight and narrow and not adding to the problems that are already there and struggling, it makes you a better person. Like, you might say that's selling out, but you do that so your children don't have to, so you can give them a better future. Because your children are going to follow in your footsteps one way or another, especially if you locked up or you in the grave, or you're in a lifestyle where you're basically doing things that's toxic and dysfunctional to your community. Because either way, they're going, if you're not there to lead them on the straight and narrow, you're going to create the Pookies and Ray Rays that you claim that you don't like. Go ahead.
Exactly. Michael Israel says some people are not equipped to be productive members of society. Those are the people that need to die out or be put in jail if they don't know how to act. So that's not an excuse either.
I'm gonna go to the next bullet point. Or you want to speak on the selling out?
No, go ahead.
So next bullet point, a lot of people are gonna hate this. Gentrification is the unsung hero. It's like this. If you're not gonna clean up your community and improve it, someone else is. So if you're not trying to clean your own house, somebody will clean it up and you'll be put out, because they'll raise property values, which will raise the rent. And if gentrification is happening, the rent will be so high you can't afford to be there because of property value increasing and you weren't prepared for it, or the people who are landlords will not renew your lease and you'll be forced to leave like that. But if you get in front of your community and you buy your own block and you own stuff, gentrification won't hit you like a brick upside your head, and you'll have control and you can turn your own community around. Because see, I'm telling you, if you're not trying to turn things around, the more you put graffiti on the walls, the more you let people shoot up the place, the more crime and violence that takes place. All that stuff gets reported, and that brings down the property value. And then people with money who see that you're not taking care of your own stuff, they'll come in, buy your neighborhood for cheap, replace everything, kick you out. And now you're being pushed into projects in the ghettos because you sat back and did nothing. And when the flames were small, you made excuses. And then now when things are ablaze and out of control, now you're saying, woe is me. Go ahead.
Right. And in Michael Israel, yeah, true. It's probably better to buy than rent. But in my opinion, it's pretty much all the same. We need renters as much as we need buyers. Basically, we need productive members of society, period. All are needed. Renters, buyers, owners, consumers, all are needed. But what we really don't need in society, we don't need the riffraff, and we don't need the people that protect the riffraff. That's the main thing. But go ahead, CK.
So the next bullet point is, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Look, a lot of y'all are trying to live off of your parents, live off of some woman, live off of someone else, and you're not becoming productive members of society. Even if you're spending all day on YouTube, talking away on panels, but you're really on welfare, you are a drain on either the government system, the economic system, another individual system, your family system. Stop being a drain and start being more productive. That means getting a job, getting another job. That means paying, your bills, paying debt. And I hate to talk to you all like your children, but a lot of you all are in a situation to where you're basically lazy. You're ruining the economy, or you're adding to the economy eroding. And it's only a matter of time before you get put into a really bad situation, because the person you were mooching off of, that you were being a parasite to, they either pass away, their money runs out, or they move on. Life is all about hard work, and it's all about adulting. If you don't learn to adult and you keep kicking cans down the road, eventually you're going to run out of road, and you're going to be no different than the beggar who's on the street corner or at the traffic light with a sign. I'll go ahead.
Right. I was just looking at the comments down here. But what I do want to say to you all is this. There is just no way that women should feel unsafe in the community. There's just no way. And I want to get to another point, because we do a lot of talking about baby mamas. I hear a lot of Black men pointing the finger at women all the time. You all are supposed to be the leaders. So if you are the leaders and you walk away from your community, leaving the women who are second in command in charge, if you walked away, that means that you quit, right? And if you quit, then you don't have a right to complain about the outcome of your quitting. Let me say it again. If you walk away from your women, you quit, you don't have the right to complain about the outcome of your quitting. Either you're going to take the bull by the nose and you're going to do something about the situation, or you're going to be silent. Because evidently, if you walked away, you didn't care, right? And if you don't care, then why are you complaining? Because as a man, you are the head. You're always throwing up Bible scriptures and talking about the women should be silent and they need to, submit to the man and all this type of stuff. But what are we submitting to? We're submitting to men who are hitting us over the head with skateboards, telling us that we think we're better than them because we don't want to accept their advances. And then they're mauling us in the streets. Is this what we got to submit to? And then we have men that blame us for getting mauled in the street, and then talk some rhetoric about baby mamas and keep kicking the can down the road, passing the buck. Nobody stands up as a man and says the buck stops here. You want to constantly blame the second in command that you left in command. And I'm sorry, but when you left, you forfeited your right to complain. That's just the honest truth of the matter. Did you have anything to add, CK?
Sure do. So Michael Israel says, if we had families instead of baby mamas. Okay, so here's the thing. Who's making the baby mamas? Who's making the baby mamas? Because if men are leaders and we're supposed to lead, then when we go in unprotected, or when we go in and the condom breaks, we're going to lead the situation and just have a discussion with the woman as far as what we plan to do. Because you could easily make the baby mama into a wife. And if you're like, well, all I wanted was a nut, you got a nut, you made her a baby mama, now you're on child support. You can't blame anybody but yourself. See, if we're going to be leaders, we got to act like leaders. Because right here, Sir Senior says, why women say that we're supposed to be leaders if the woman doesn't follow the man? Well, here's the thing. For every there's at least one woman who will follow a man. Because if that wasn't the case, then there wouldn't be women who would have relations with a man. And if you're like, well, she'll have relations with me, but she won't follow me, then why are you laying down with her? See, we as men, we got to act like leaders mentally and in execution. So we're the ones making the baby mamas. Don't put the onus on the woman to simply, figure it out once she gets pregnant. No, you have to go in with a complete plan from beginning, middle, and end. If you're going to be the leader, then lead. Don't make a bunch of excuses. And then Michael Israel also says there are agendas in place. Let me stop right there. There's always going to be agendas. But what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit around and make excuses and cry? Or are you going to stop being a bitch and lead? Because there's a million different ways you can make money. We can fix our own communities. We can lead ourselves. We can lead people. We can do anything we want to do in life. But if you want to sit around and make excuses, then make excuses. Because the same way that someone can make an agenda to keep you in a place, you can come together, first starting off with the individual, and do what you want to do in life. We got to stop walking forward and tripping on what's behind us, or stop tripping, period. We got to stop making excuses. Because what are the excuses going to get you? Except for more complaining and more crying and more bitching. We got to stop bitching. These men jumped this woman and bit her in the eye. What agenda was there that made them jump her and bite her in the eye while everybody else sat around and watched? So I don't want to hear about agendas when this woman was bit in the eye while a bunch of other men watched, and there's YouTube panels where people are on the panel talking reckless about black women and children, and people are sitting around watching. So whatever agenda you're talking about, that agenda had nothing to do with what is taking place, including black women being thrown in dumpsters, hit upside the head with skateboards, and the list goes on and on and on. And we sit around and we're crying and complaining. Michael Israel says,
did you? I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you, did you want to go ahead and replay the video for those people that may not have seen it in the beginning?
Okay, I could do that. Let's see.
Because there are a lot of people coming in and they're just getting here and they don't know exactly what we're talking about or what's going on. But we are talking about a young black woman who went to a convenience store to buy herself a bottle of wine after work. And she was pretty much assaulted because she refused to allow a man to purchase the wine for her. He offered to buy the wine and she said, no, thank you. I can buy it myself. And he proceeds to harass her by saying, you think you're better than me. And then they begin to assault and beat her outside of the convenience store.
All right, so playing the video right now.
Attack in Harlem when a woman who was just trying to buy a bottle of wine.
She says that it happened after she turned down one man's offer to pay for her. CBS 2's Lisa Rosner spoke exclusively with the victim.
Surveillance video shows a group outside this liquor store as a woman walks in alone just before 6 p.m. Monday. The 31-year-old mother says she was buying a bottle of wine after work when two men walked in the shop on West 128th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. She says the man in the red offered to pay.
I politely declined and I said, no, thank you, but thank you. Could pay for it myself. And then I got ready to walk out. Before I walk out, he basically said that he felt like I thought that I was better than them.
The men followed her out, she says, asking what did she want to do about it.
I just asked him, I said, like, you're seriously like trying to fight me? Like, I'm trying to go about my business.
She says they chased her across the street, kicking her, and one man actually bit her forehead, leaving deep
Brutal attack.
wounds. She says he tried to bite her eye out. Others kicked her.
To bite me and do that, maul me the way that he did, with me screaming and saying that I'm just trying to get my daughter, that's an animal.
Deep wounds. She says he tried to.
Exactly. That's the animal.
Brutal attacking.
Exactly what we're talking about here is animals. So whatever the agenda that people are trying to push, whatever you guys are saying, it doesn't matter, because we all know that the government is picking winners, losers, and themselves. But what we don't have to do is to continue to feed the machine by focusing on stuff that has nothing to do with taking down these animals who are running around, harassing Black women, harassing children, and putting their mouths on them. So my question to you is, what are you going to do about it, except for complain about something that happened back in the 1850s and 1950s? We don't need no more excuses. We need action. See, this right here, this is it. Michael Israel asks, what would it take, Faith, to be submissive to a man? What does that got to do with what you're going to do about men beating up Black women? And see, this is what ends up happening. We deflect and we worry about stuff that has no concern about what is at hand, which is the fact that we need to be more aggressive in protecting our own. Because we
Could
think
you
about,
please highlight Muslim Lovers comment, because he's asking, he says he doesn't want no smoke, but how often does that happen? You see that?
you said who again?
Muslim Lover of Peace. Yeah.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
all right, so no, you know, go ahead. What you gonna say about Muslim Lover?
No, but Muslim Lover, it happens a lot. And a lot of times the crimes go unreported. And the reason that I can tell you that it happens a lot, I grew up in Chicago. Okay, Chicago is a very high crime city. When I was a young woman, just catching the bus, we used to get cat calls on the bus if we did not respond to these guys, telling us to smile, or we didn't stop and acknowledge them in any type of way. We were called bitches and cursed out and followed. And one time I had a guy throwing rocks at me, but I didn't report it to the police. A lot of these crimes, these harassment crimes, they go unreported. Because when you're a young girl, you don't think that, is that these people are doing anything but, being, how can I say, abrasive. With the street harassment is the precursor to violence. Because it always starts with them saying something out of the way to you. And if you don't respond the way they want you to, then they're cursing you out. And they may even get worked up to the point where they're throwing rocks at you, or they're going to physically assault you in some way. It happens all the time. All the time. And that's the reason why I said on a panel not too long ago, I was on 2 Black women's panels, and both of those Black women didn't think that it was a big deal. And when I suggested that I thought that street harassment should be outlawed, they told me that they didn't think so, that they would not put brothers in jail just for exercising their First Amendment rights. What have the First Amendment got to do with you harassing people? But I'll let CK continue.
So going back to what I was saying, with Michael Israel is talking about what would it take for faith to be submissive to a man. See, we're beside the point with some of these comments, because we're focused on everything except for what we need to do as men, and that is lead and protect. Because it's not really about leading and protecting women per se, it's your community. And when you think about it, what does it matter what would take a person, let's say Faith, for example, as Michael Israel's question, what the fuck does it matter what would take Faith to be submissive if she's not going to be submissive to you? And see, this is why we keep losing. This is right here is why we keep losing, because we have our eye off the ball and we're focused on other stuff other than what needs to happen, which is drawing a line in the sand and getting rid of these monkeys and apes that are shitting up and polluting our communities. Are you tired of things being toxic and dysfunctional? Are you tired of the degenerates, the mistakes that shouldn't have even been born, polluting your city and your communities, harassing people? They're an abomination and an embarrassment. And that's the way you should look at them, especially if they're harassing people in the street and putting their mouths on people. You should be outraged. And even the people who are on panels on YouTube who are excusing this away and trying to divert attention elsewhere. These parasites, these beasts, these animals, these monkeys, all they're doing is making us look horrible, making our communities look horrible with the graffiti, with the pants sagging, with the smoking weed and huddled up, doing little rap freestyles, not going to work and being productive. They are an abomination. And most of them shouldn't have been born, but they were born. So the more you make excuses and deflect and worry about stuff that's not important at the fact that you are at war. This is a war. It is the bottom feeders and the have-nots against us who are productive, honest citizens. And if you are not willing to put them in cages, if they cannot control their actions and be productive, they must be put down. It's a really simple concept. And if anyone cannot understand that, not talking about you, Michael Israel, I'm done with you. If anyone cannot understand that, then you are part of the problem and you are just as bad as the enemy. Michael Israel says it's a general question, not blame. Any sensible person knows it takes both. I play a very active role in my children's lives. My eldest girl passed her MSc at 24. Outstanding. Outstanding that you have a general question and your eldest girl passed her MSc at 24. But let me ask you this. Besides the massive typos that are in your statement that I was able to read correctly, thank the universe that I was able to. What would you do if you witnessed these monsters, these animals in Harlem at the liquor store surrounding the woman and harassing her and chasing her across the street? What would you do? Would you ask general questions? Would you celebrate your eldest girl passing? Or would you stand in and step up to make sure that your community doesn't have any worse crimes happening by stopping these attackers from doing their filth? Just a general question. You're typing fast. I applaud you typing fast, but would you act fast if the animals were chasing down a woman and wanting to harass her? Would you act fast? I hope the answer is yes. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm ready for the next bullet point.
All right. So we're out of bullet points.
Oh, okay.
From that
right.
segment. So
we can open up the panel now then, since we pretty much discussed everything. I am wanting people to come up here to discuss what they think is needed to make our community safer. What do you feel is the answer to making our community safer? That is what I want to know. I also want to know what is your reaction to the video that we just played here, to what happened to this young woman. So, CK, if you will drop the link, anyone wanting to come up and speak on this subject, talk about what you saw in the video, your feelings, your reaction, you are welcome to join.
My response is this. Thank you for allowing me to come on the panel. Peace, love. That was totally disgusting. I mean, a man should never ever lay his hands on a woman unless it's in self-defense. And even if he's married to her, a man should never hit his wife, nor his daughters. That's just how I feel. Now, what would make it a better society? I'm gonna be honest with you. Hip hop has done a lot of damage. We need better fathers, role models in the community. We need dads. We need fathers to be better men and leaders. And that's how I feel about it.
Absolutely. And I agree with you, because the men in the community, I'm just going to say this as a woman, men, you do not know how important you are to securing your environment. Men are the ones who make sure that the environment is safe. You're the ones that are the protectors of your environment. And your environment isn't just the environment in your home. Your environment is your neighborhoods, where your homes are. So what does it mean if your home, the inside of your house is safe, but whenever you guys are walking outside, it's chaos?
I agree. And it starts in the home. But however, men do have to, while they're leading, they have to uplift women, because women are the foundation of a home. You know, if a woman is not educated, if you notice in countries where if a woman, she's not educated, the society in these countries, they're backwards. But when you find these women, they are educated, in the countries, they are progressive. So, you know, like I said, and then also men, whatever they're endowed with, you know, by God Almighty, is to protect the woman. Is to protect and provide for women. And men, they have to assume that role.
So we're at war. So we're at war. We're at war. Michael Israel says, but I have to admit, I'm scared to interfere as we're at war. Michael, whoever, you know, Muslim faith, people in the chat, we're at war. So if you're scared, then you basically are going to get ran over, because the people who are your enemies, they don't care about your fear. They don't give a fuck about your fear. And when it comes to war, you're either going to fight or you're going to lay down. He said that he's had a young woman attack him when he was trying to stop her boyfriend from beating her. It's like this: if you interfere and the woman starts to attack you, you're defending yourself against her.
Right.
But the idea is that you are intervening and communicating directly and indirectly to the community that you are against this type of behavior, because he beats her, and what ends up happening? He goes out and probably commits another crime because he's still angry about whatever's inside of him. So he has to be put down. And as far as her, if she's trying to attack you for helping her, then she has to be put down as well, because it's more than likely that whatever FC does that's illegal, she's going to be supporting his illegal activity. So when it comes to these criminals, these bottom feeders, you must interfere, you must intervene, or you are a part of the problem because you're sitting back doing nothing. Remember, we are at war, whether you want to fight or not.
Yeah, I can see that situation backfiring. Yeah, you know what I mean? You go, you help a couple that's fighting, and then next you know, they turn on you. I can see that backfiring. But however, I wouldn't think, I mean, I can't, me as a man, I can't stand around and see a woman get punched in the face. That's just me.
Well, that
Even
means that you're a real man. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best to try to help her, and then you see there's people standing around too, and they'll jump in as well. You know, other women would do it as well, other men. Once one person steps up, again, you know, leads, you'll see other people come to your aid, and this is something that we must do as men. We must do it. I mean, it's not like we have a choice.
And here's the thing: if you're afraid that your life may be in danger, you don't necessarily have to step in physically. You know, these days everybody has a cell phone. Why not call the police?
Or you know, grab a couple men and women standing around, and you know, tell them, come on, let's come here, let's just go grab this guy, let's go subdue him. You know, you don't have to just react right away. I mean, some people will. You know, I might. You know, if I see blood coming down her face and he's really trying to hurt her, I mean, I have no choice. I mean, there's nothing I could. You know, I must do what I have to do to defend the woman. Simple as that.
it boils down to you got to make a choice. And in a split second, when you're running up on a situation, you don't really have many choices. So if the first reaction is to protect the woman, outstanding. If the second reaction is to defuse the situation, great. But we got to do something and make a decision expeditiously because we're at war. And these stories are happening all the time. And the ones we're hearing about are the ones that are caught on camera. Imagine the ones that are not caught on camera. So Michael Israel says hip hop only affects those without fathers in the home. False. If a person feels a certain way about some hip hop music, then they're affected. And if they do something like, oh, I don't know, hurt someone else, commit a crime, and they believe that the hip hop music influenced them or it did influence them, then they're affected. So we got to get away from why people are committing crimes, and we got to understand that we're at war with them and we got to stop them. So why they're doing what they do, you know, let the professionals and experts deal with that. We're talking about stopping stuff when it happens. Now, so it is to protect and provide for their family. We do need to protect and provide for our families and our community. Outstanding. And Michael Israel also says many women are accustomed to this dysfunctional relationship. It is sadly the norm. So if a woman's if a woman wants dysfunctional relationship, that's on her. We're talking about stopping crime. That's really what we're here about. You know, the woman was brutally attacked at a Harlem liquor store after turning a guy down. They chased her across the street. They beat her down. They bit her. We're talking about stopping crime. Now, if the woman likes dysfunctional relationships, she's into, you know, crazy shit, doesn't matter. We're stopping crime. That's the first step to turning around your community, is understanding that you're either for cleaning up your community and cleaning up a mess, or you're going to be against it, meaning you're passive, you're going to join in, or you're going to do nothing or make excuses. It's either A or B. That's the line in the sand that we're drawing. Now, if you're thinking, oh, there's other options, you know, what about this and what about that? If you're trying to consider a whole bunch of stuff, you'll be considering to the point where you're no longer useful in a situation and the crime is over. And now you're a witness. And then if you want to work with law enforcement to catch the people, great. If you're going to make excuses or, you know, not try to work with law enforcement because snitches get stitches, then you're part of the problem. Did you want to say anything as far as what Michael Israel said before I go to the next comment? I think it's, let me take it down. Muslim.
I think he should come on the panel, you know, come on the panel and talk, brother. But yes, we're definitely at war. I mean, America spends $60 billion a year in emergency rooms on domestic violence cases, and 92% of those cases are women. Now, if we can eliminate that, I mean, just by half, you know, $60 billion. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around this. You know, I mean, definitely at war. And again, it starts with the man, starts with the father. I mean, we need better leaders, man. Definitely need better leaders. And unfortunately, it's sad. It's very sad.
We definitely need leaders. So Michael Israel says, no man should, it also open panel for anybody who wants to come up and voice their opinion. We'll also read your comments. No man should close fist a woman. He should slap her if she deserves it. And this is why we're losing right here. This is why we're losing. because you don't advocate violence in a relationship, yet you're saying he should slap her if she deserves it.
Okay.
Because it sounds to me like you're advocating violence. Now you could say, well, what about, self-defense and this and that? You didn't put that in your comment. All
Yeah.
you said was if she deserves it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're advocating for violence. I believe once you have to resort to violence, you've lost the argument. And that's the whole, your whole statement, it was lost, because I don't know what context you were talking about, but it sounds like you were advocating for violence under certain circumstances. Now, self-defense is self-defense, but right now we're talking about a woman brutally attacked at Harlem liquor store after turning a guy down. They chased her down, beat her down, and bit her. And we're also talking about being against the criminal element and against violence. So,
well, what constitutes a man slapping a woman? I mean, he didn't explain that part. You know what I mean? Like, why
exactly.
should like what constitutes that? Like, why should he smack the woman? What is it that she? I mean, is she out of her mind? Is she just she lost her mind? She's in a fit of rage. I mean, maybe. I mean, subdue her rather than smack her.
Well, see, this is how he's tripping you up, Muslim, and this is how he's getting you. Out of the two things I named, the woman brutally attacked a Harlem liquor store for turning down a guy, and they chased her down and beat her down and bit her, and cleaning up the community as far as the criminal element. What does putting your hands on a woman have to do with that? And that's the deflection I was talking about earlier. See, a lot of people will come in and they'll deflect and they'll make a bunch of statements to distract from the agenda at hand. And that is the fact that we are talking about cleaning up the community. So we must not be distracted by those who want to say things to get us off the mark and get our eye off the ball. We got to stay focused. He says families is the first step. Without this, nothing will change. And, I think the change will happen when men, there's only two genders, men and women. Men are the strongest between men and women. That's a fact. So if men are the strongest between men and women, and men are the main ones doing crime, men need to check other men. Point blank. Period. Having a family is great. That's awesome. But what will change the community and a lot of situations is men stepping up and taking a stance against crime in different shapes and forms. That should be the first step, is men taking a stand against crime. Because what's the point of making a family, making a whole bunch of babies, a bunch of mouths to feed, but yet you walk up, you see a woman being brutally attacked, you do nothing. Your family ain't shit at that point. Nobody cares about your family and your kids or you being a family man if you're sitting back letting the criminal element do what it does, which is commit crime and erode your community. Because when the cancer spreads and it becomes unstable and you can't stop it and you can't control it, the only thing that was left is to get rid of the limb, which is basically gentrification. So, Faith, back on the panel, you got anything?
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I rolled through a dead zone real quickly. What did I miss?
You missed a couple of deflecting from the audience, and Muslim made some great points. All you missed was deflection.
Well, I was kind of, I knew that we were going to get a lot of deflection on this topic. But I am quite surprised though that I haven't gotten the guys coming in here, blaming the young lady herself. I'm glad that I did not see any of that on this panel. Thank goodness, because I don't think I'd be able to contain myself.
Well, Michael Israel. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So Michael Israel says, "Dude," referring to me. What you're saying is getting a bucket to mop the water from a tap that's on. The solution is to turn off the tap, then mop up the water. Families is the tap. Well, here's the thing. People who are committing crime, like let's say spray painting graffiti, that would be the tap. Because if you're going to cover up the graffiti, that is like mopping up a water with the tap on. But what you got to do is get rid of the person spraying the graffiti, my friend. Or let's say if someone's robbing a liquor store. Going and talking to the police and giving them identification of who did it is outstanding. But what you really need to do is to get rid of the person who's robbing the liquor stores. So we have to there's the problem and symptoms of the problem. So we are really good with talking about the symptoms of the problem instead of the problem itself. And the first start is to accept or to take a stance against the criminal element. That's crime at all levels. Graffiti, sexual assault, people getting robbed, even if it's something small like, I don't know, jaywalking. Because see, something small escalates into something large. And next thing you know, you have a bad community, a toxic, dysfunctional community. And then you have a situation where the only hope is gentrification for the cancer that's being spread. And Michael Israel also says those are the effect. We need to tackle the cause. I agree. And the cause is niggas. Niggas are the ones that attacked the woman at the Harlem liquor store. They chased her across the street and bit her face. Niggas did that shit. Niggas. Not a system, not a this, not a that. Niggas did that shit. Niggas.
Well, you know what, CK? Now, a lot of people will be angry with you and they will say that you're sounding like a white supremacist right now.
Ooh.
That you're using language and you're
Fear-mongering.
sounding like a white supremacist right now.
Ooh, I bet they would. That sounds exciting. That sounds real exciting if people were thinking that I want to clean up a community. Shaming language is so fun. So if some of you all would like to come on the panel and, deflect and make excuses and say, oh, it's just too great of a responsibility, I'm scared, they continue to be scared. But just know that you're not going to be able to change your situation or improve it if you keep making excuses and living in fear. Point blank, period. The cause of dysfunctional families or the absence of one. Whatever. Michael Israel says, those are the effect. We need to tackle the cause. Okay, I've already read that one. So it's an open panel if anybody wants to talk about solutions. Or
well, here's the thing. All these deflections, what has that got to do? Families got to do with why this woman was attacked. Because see, we start deflecting to single mamas, to the lack of families and all this other stuff. What has that got to do with the violence in our communities? And I understand and I get that you all think that it's all the single mother's fault because we're raising the children. But once again, it takes two to tango. If the women are raising the children, where are the fathers?
It's not like the woman.
Where are the men?
Yeah, it's not like the woman brought them kids into the world on their own. You know what I mean? Where the men at? It's definitely not the woman's fault. I mean, if anything, they're the heroes.
Well, don't say that too loudly. you might get a gang of black men going after you next, Muslim.
They're already blaming single black mothers for all the problems of the woman getting bit and brutally attacked. They've already said that earlier on panels. So joining the panel is Sheila E. How's it going? Welcome.
How you doing? Hi, Faith.
Hey, what's up, Sheila?
Yeah, I was listening to a little bit, even with the woman getting attacked. Okay, I have to excuse my voice because I'm not feeling too good. Okay, when did you go back down to the police department? Don't they have a part of this say so too? When it comes to our community?
Here's the thing: the police can only do what they know is happening. Like if we don't report the stuff, then the police, they can't do their job.
But can't we how I'ma say it? Can't we I'ma say it like this, like the Jews do theirs. We could organize our own section in our community because I know they have funds for it, and just like adopt the bot and watch each other, they have some of that, but I know a lot of that not be used too. Do y'all understand what I'm saying or not?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like upstate in New York, they have certain Jewish communities that police themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is a small community. I mean, we're talking about less than 3,000 to 4,000, people, Orthodox Jews that, they police themselves. But and also they barely have any type of crime. And if anything is going on in the household, a lot of the wives definitely don't report it. I mean,
but we still could do that too.
Yeah,
block. We was doing that up here. So let's not say it's not hard to do. It is, because they get money for that. They get money for the outreach for the community. I talked to the police chief a couple of years ago. I got him $3.5 million for
Yeah, yeah,
the community.
it's
So we
feasible.
can do it. It's just a lot of people don't want to do it because a lot of their hands is dirty.
Yeah, police are first responders, but the first line of defense is us. And we got a Second
Yes.
Amendment rights where we can carry firearms. So we got to police ourselves.
Yes.
And people who, let's say Michael Israel, he's saying the police should not be involved. So are you going to lock people up yourselves? Are you going to take their lives if they are using lethal force against people? See, we got to work with law enforcement. We got to work with law enforcement. Or if you're trying to do street justice, then, you know, Godspeed. But when it boils down to it, there's first responders, which is law enforcement, but we are the first line of defense, the men.
Mhm.
So we can do community watch. We could, you know, get funding together for different public initiatives, but before all that happens, which has to be planned out and voted on, the first line of defense is the men, and men have to have the thought process and be able to accept that they are the leaders and protectors of women and children in the community. And we have to be the first ones to step up, especially if you're not afraid, because it's your community. When you see the cancer, if you don't eliminate the cancer, it's going to be out of control. And then here comes gentrification when property values get lowered by crime. So the police should be involved.
Mhm.
What I think he's trying to say is that it should.
No, don't do that. He has to come up here and speak for himself, because I'm going off of what he said. He said the police should not be involved. That's it. See, we have to stop taking up for people and trying to explain away their bad comments, bad behavior. If Michael wants to take up for Michael, he's a grown man. He can come up here and do it himself. We got to stop doing that. Right now,
yes, we have to stop doing that. But yes, they're getting funds for the inner cities. So the funds they get for the inner city, give it back to the community so they can fix it their own self. That's what I'm saying.
That sounds.
I used to be on the police advisory committee.
Yeah,
I
that sounds.
advocate for my community, and I'm being honest.
She was very active.
Mm-hmm. I see little men's at a little bit men's 3 or 4 at the activities, making laws and stuff against y'all. So y'all biracial wives and different ones, they're not saying nothing against these laws that's coming against y'all. So I had to speak up in the room, 150 people. So again, like I said, we start with local, get policies, proposals, laws and stuff. It can be done. Get a team. I have a team, and the team really had to be so thorough and know this stuff, research and everything.
And that's great. Like what Israel says, every other race understands this, yet we don't seem to get it. Foundation is the key. A building without foundation is swept away in a storm. It's like this. Yes, we need to build better families, but we got to make it safe for families. And if people are committing crime and people are hurting other people, we have to do what we can to eliminate the threat, eliminate the cancer. Mm-hmm. Michael also says, no, dude. I have no idea what that word is. We raise children and family. See, instead of typing fast and making typos, just come on the panel.
Yeah, come on the panel, dude. Come on, Mike. Come up here. You know, take it easy on you. Sound like, you know, you're a smart guy. Come on up here.
We raise children and families will solve most of these issues. Your solution does not address solving, just hiding them in institutions. No, they're not hiding in institutions. It's like this. If a bunch of guys chase down a woman, stomp her out, and bite her in the face, we're not hiding them in institutions. They're being locked up and possibly be rehabilitated if they got mental issues while they're incarcerated away from the rest of the population. This is more than likely not the first time they attacked her, because they had no problem being on camera. They had no problem hurting her. And see, a lot of you all in the chat and on panels who are like, you know, saying negative things about Black women, you're part of the problem. We got to stop making these excuses and stop deflecting and understand that we have to address the problem at hand, which is the fact that there's a war against Black women. Michael Israel also says, are you the only person in the chat? The prison system is a privatized industry which makes millions off the Black community. Well, it's like this. If if you want to deflect, you're doing a poor job of it, because what you're talking about is a system that's in place, and we're talking about stopping black men from hurting black women. That's what we're talking about right now. So the private prison industry, yes, it's there. Yes, some of us are invested in it, and they do make millions off of black people. But guess what? Most of y'all voted for Joe Biden, who wrote the 1994 crime bill that locked up most black people. So, miss me with the bullshit.
Yep.
I have
Because that 94 crime bill not only locked up a lot of black men from the crack era, but it also made it to where it gave funding to the private prisons. And most black people voted for Joe Biden.
Why do you think that?
And he brags. And he brags about
it. Why do you think that?
Why
do you think most black people voted for him?
I think it's because it's a part of the Democrat plantation of they've done so much for us because they've given us free housing like the projects and Section 8, and they've given us food when we didn't have any resources like food stamps and other welfare subsidies.
I think it's more to that.
And they also feel entitled to the black vote. They know that it's not going to the Republicans.
I think it's pure ignorance. That's what because remember, CK, what I said yesterday, black people already know that Biden wrote the crime bill. We know about all the things that these Democrats have been doing, all of the things that they have passed that have not been in our best interest. But we are a group of people that we follow hashtags. We are idolaters. We like to go with the in crowd. We don't care about what is effective to making our communities better. We bypassed the platinum plan, which was had language in it that was specifically saying that they would give money to black-owned business. Black-owned business. We forego that. We didn't care. We voted for somebody that passed laws that were not in our best interest, and we knew it. At this point, I have to say, we just don't give a damn.
Right.
We don't care.
And definitely need to organize. I mean, coming out just every 4 years and voting for a president is nothing. It's like Ice Cube said, you know what I mean? What we're going to do after Biden is in. You know what I mean? What's going to change? What is he going to do? We need to start organizing now, right away, so that when the next 4 years come up, we have a platform. We have everything set up. And if this guy's not going to, support it, well, then we got to go somewhere else. We got to vote somebody else.
But Muslim, we don't want nothing. As a group, we don't want nothing.
Some of them don't.
The only thing that we want is we want to be entertained. We want the free government handouts, but we don't want nothing beyond that. We don't want nothing that we got to work hard for. When Donald Trump is telling us that he's going to pour money into black businesses, that right there, he might as well have been speaking a foreign language, because business. What do we know about business? The majority of us, only thing we know about is spending, buying power. We don't know nothing about business. So that what Trump was talking about was not valuable to the majority of us. But what Biden and people like AOC talking about, welfare, that's what we value. I'm just going to be honest with you.
You know what? When you go down to it, blacks didn't have generational wealth, majority of them. So they wasn't taught different things, how to manage their money, have good credit, how to get their land, how to build on, in case something happened to them, they go on to the next generation, their old money. And so now this is the time that, we had a group that were, he was doing what, what Ice Cube was doing with Donald Trump, we was already doing at our Congress office. And then in the day is, like I said, there another election going on local in every state. Y'all really have to hold y'all elect officials accountable, because it's not about Democrat, it's not about Republican, it's not about an interest, it's about what's going on in your city, your state. And no individual, no individual been there for years. What have they vote for? What have they vote against? We need to know these things, because a lot of our people need to be educated on politics, and it's not that hard at all. Board education, get a big grant. Planning development, get a big grant. Zoning, get a big grant. DPW, get a big grant. Nonprofit organizations start business, and they started off with diversity and minorities, which did not give none to blacks. We really had to sit at those tables, and it's not hard, believe me, because when I leave the office, I'd be so exhausted. We have to sit at the table and challenge them on what to put in those laws and those policies that benefit us. And nobody doing that. We're doing a lot of talking, but no action. You know why? Because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of meetings. And let me tell you something, you're going to come against a lot of them. Because the end of the day is, they're so set in their ways, they don't want to change.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything you said. Like Malcolm X said, we need unity. We need to organize. We need to control all the businesses in our community, and we need to put people in power that are going to do our bidding. And if they're not going to do it, we're going to have to replace them.
And it's not easy. I just opened up my nephew 2 barbershops. My niece doing her soap and everything. My other cousin doing her kitchen soul food and everything. She's been there for like 7 years. Believe me, it's not easy. But when you determine to do it, nothing can stop you. No.
So Michael says, I didn't vote for Biden. Stop assuming. Politics has nothing to do with this. Now who's deflecting? See, when you mentioned private prisons, Michael, the explanation that was given to you involved politics, and that's why we're down the path of politics now. You guys don't seem to get it. We had a black president, remember, blah, blah, blah. So this is what we need. This is what we need. We need more Joe Clarks. Like in the movie Lean on Me, we need someone who is an individual who wants to improve their community, their situation. They want to help people, and they want to take a stand. No excuses, no saying that we got to have better families. We know that. We know all that. But we need the first step to want to make a difference immediately. Because before we can get into changing policy, before we can form groups, before we can improve our situation in our community long term, we first need men, the stronger of the two genders, sexes, to step up and be like Joe Clark and not make excuses and get things done. Like literally, if you see a woman being brutalized in, let's say, Harlem by some men, you step in. Now I got it. You may want to record with your phone and call the police. No one's going to stop. No one's going to force you to be a leader. No one's going to force you to be tough. If you've been afraid all your life and fearful, it is what it is. But we need more Joe Clarks.
But Michael Israel,
Blacks.
you need to come up and defend yourself on what you're saying down here, because you're saying a lot of stuff. You're talking about the school to prison pipeline. Okay, what does the school to prison pipeline got to do with these men's decision to assault an innocent woman at a convenience store?
Nothing. He's deflecting. All of his comments are deflecting. He says, we can't change our own family unit, yet you want to talk about changing a country. Laugh out loud, oh Lord. Well, like I said, We need more Joe Clarks. And right now, Michael, until you come up and prove otherwise, we need less Michael Israels. So shout out to you for trying to deflect and keep us off topic, which is what happens most of the time when we talk about improving communities. And he said there's definitely a school to prison pipeline. You could deny it if you want to. No one's denying it. No one is wanting to entertain your deflection because it's starting to come across as bullshit. People that that have a voice in politics do so in large groups, which requires unity. We can't unite the family, just forget politics. We're not going to forget anything that's going to help improve our position in our situation. Right now, we're talking about getting more Joe Clarks, but we do need to change policy that improves our situation and position, and we do need to unite with like-minded people. We definitely don't want to keep the trash on the grounds and have the trash accumulate. Like I said about the cancer, you have to identify the cancer and eliminate it and not look the other way. Miss Britt says, not for those who graduated with a high school diploma and stayed out of trouble, as far as the school to prison pipeline. So she and Michael are having a thing. But joining the panel is Zach. Stay focused. How's it going? Welcome.
What's up? Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear.
What's up, Zach? What do you have to say about the topic about the young lady that got beaten outside of the convenience store?
I just got off work. I watched a little bit.
You're very low, brother. If you could just
on the topic, I think I heard it. I think they was in New York or something like that.
I could play the video again.
No,
Yeah.
Like I already heard about these stories. I'll be looking all this stuff up. Like they should have. I mean, it goes back to what I say that some women feel like they're not protected, but they should lock those guys up. And to me, I think those are criminals, man. Those are the guys that we talk about and we try to explain to people.
Hold up, Zach. Well, 1 second. So Michael Israel says, my mouth is not user-friendly, and I would definitely swear at you. Look, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We want the smoke. We want those who want to defend the men who brutally attacked the woman at the Harlem liquor store. We want to hear from those who want to defend that behavior or deflect from it. It's an open panel. Come on up. And if you swear, just know that I match energy. So if you want to go and bring some smoke, we can bring some smoke. But I'm not backing down that black men need to no longer bully, harass, and even take the lives of black women. I'm not changing my stance on that. Sorry about that, Zach. Stay focused. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I would agree to a certain extent as far as first off, those men wrong. And these are the same men that I try to warn black people about. But no one listens to me. Oh, remember, I'm aggressive. I'm bitter. I'm hurting. Oh, he's one of them angry black men. But this is what we talking about, especially this space. Like, lock them damn guys up. Those guys are freaks and criminals. And there's a lot of men out here like that. But I mean, I don't really feel bad for those guys. Whatever happened to them. But I don't respect that. Damn near bit the lady's face in her eyes. These dudes was freaks. What the hell they was looking for, man? I don't respect that. Nah, man. They wrong, man. I don't respect that either.
So Zach, my question to you would be this, because Commendable K, he asked the men earlier, what would you do if you had saw that happening?
I mean, it's two parts to it. A part of me feel like, oh, Zach, it's not your business. You don't know what's going on, man. Your business, and take your black stuff in the house. And it's a part of me to feel like, man, you dudes damn near all up on this chick like that. You a freak, man. And I probably would have just escorted her. Probably would have. I mean, I'm a gun owner, so they probably would have moved around anyway. But hey, no one listens to guys like us. Remember, like we lame and we corny, right? I mean, I don't know.
Okay, because here's the thing that we were talking about earlier. We were talking about making our communities safer for those who are, easy, the easier prey, the soft prey. Women, children, the elderly, and the disabled are soft prey for people like this. And it is the men who actually determine whether or not the environment is going to be safe. And why is it that in so many Black communities, the environment is hardly ever safe?
Well, I would say this just from experience. Um, in Illinois, I guess my guess would be you have out of 100%, you have at least I would say 61 to 63% of Black men who really don't give a damn, just because Black women treated them like crap. Not only they won't protect you, but they'll walk off like they don't even see you, to be honest. And I was one of those guys. This is how bad it got. This is why the manosphere stressed all this to Black women for them to understand. If you want better men, you have to get men organized on uh, um, one plan, one solution that all men can agree with. But it's not gonna happen like that because a lot of men are selfish and they really don't give a damn at this point. Like y'all seen, like the story was what, two guys. I guess she turned the guy down or something like that. Even though I know in New York they do buck 50s and they do initiation tactics and they randomly attack innocent people. This is what they do in New York. Like seriously, this is why it's
Yeah,
important that
the whole wilding out thing, I think it originated in that area.
yeah.
And
So
that's the other thing that a lot of people, and see, when you mention the Central Park Five, a lot of people don't like to talk about what they were doing when they got arrested, but they were wilding out when they got arrested.
right, yeah, but the whole thing is the ladies didn't deserve to get attacked. Don't attack no woman, dude. Like no matter how much stuff I talk y'all in this space about Black women and I disagree, I'm not gonna attack no women. Them dudes is freaks, like I said, and it's a lot of other men like that. I'm telling you. Like if I would have been there, I would at least tried to make sure the lady was safe. Even though I feel like it's not my business, I'm not your husband. A part of me feel like, nah, I'm not gonna let the lady just get attacked by two men, especially when you being a lot of these guys are predators and freaks. They'll get all up on one of you women. You know that?
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I do know that I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in areas where it was pretty much the standard to be street harassed and low key guys assaulting you because you don't want to accept their advances. I pretty much know that already. But my question is, when are the men going to stop pointing their finger at the women? Because it is the men that decide whether or not these environments are going to be safe.
Well, the first thing I would say, Faith, is, and I don't want to take over the conversation. I want to hear everybody else speak. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet. At this point, Black men and Black women need to literally have a sit down. This is in every major city. Families, relationships, and they need to really figure it out because a lot of these Black men ain't gonna let up. Not only they not gonna, like, I was one of those guys. I was like, I don't give a damn as long as it's me and I'm getting money and I'm on my purpose. I don't give a damn about a woman. To the point I would walk past stuff like what I just heard. I've been in a situation where he smacked his baby mama twice and it was a crowd and I'm like, oh wow, I'm looking at it and I kept going. You know what I
You're
mean?
part of the
Like, I can't,
problem. You're
but I'm
part of the
just saying,
problem. Because
I'm not gonna
when
let
you
a
walk
woman get beat. But I'm just saying it wasn't my business at that point. I was
and
being
see
realistic.
being realistic is saying it's not your business. You're basically saying that it's okay for that crime to take place, and it's your
It's not
community.
okay. I didn't know the situation. I would say that. But
So,
then I have
so
to
wait,
make it home to my children.
well, it's like this. What use is it to make it home to your children if crimes that you're letting go on snowball and get greater because you're not a part of doing your civic duty to help stop the crime? See, the thing about it is when you see something on TV or you can walk past something and it's no big deal, it doesn't affect you then. But then when it does finally affect you, it becomes too late and the cancer is great. So what we're talking about is we need more people who are like Joe Clark, who see something and no matter what it's about, they'll get involved because they don't want their community to suffer. Those who are sitting back woe is me, it's not my business, I'm not concerned, I don't want to put on a cape. You are part of the reason why a lot of Black communities are in the condition that it's in. And not trying to, put you down personally, Zach, stay focused. It's just that if you walk past and do nothing, you're just as bad as the people actually doing it.
Oh, really? Well,
the passive behavior is what helps the criminal element thrive. Is people doing nothing. When good people do nothing, bad things happen.
And I will agree with you to a certain point. As overall having a safe community, that's true. Yes, everybody want to be safe. Yes, we want strong men. That's true. However, that's not the reality of the condition of Black men and being in relationships with Black women. A lot of Black men feel like they would let a Black woman go in a minute, to be honest. A lot of these women think they got Black men by their fingers, but it's not true. A lot of Black men are waiting to get enough money to get the hell away from them. And
so you're saying that Black men are cowards? Are you saying the majority of Black men are cowards?
Black men are strategic. They figure it out. Look at the stuff Black men had to endure all these hundreds of years.
Do you think that it's wise for a Black man to see a crime happening and do nothing?
If it's not his business, if he want to make it home to his children, of course.
So what's the point of making home to your children and then your children have to grow up in an area that's crime riddled because you did nothing to stop it before it got out of control?
Yeah, nice try, but that's not true, bro.
It is. How do you think communities become in the condition that they're in? What do you think happens? You think it's just out of nowhere?
It's no family in the communities. That's why it's no fathers. The men are leaving the men to and fro and go where they want. They just Papa was a Rolling Stone type of thing. And
let me help you out and refine that. Men are not standing up to crime. Simple statement.
Why should they when you tell them and you talk down on them and you disrespect them and you try to really treat them like they different? I mean, what do you expect Black men to do? Just sit around and kumbaya with you?
Protect their own community is a start. Protect your own community.
They're gonna protect their family first. Let's be honest. And
your family is in the community.
They're not gonna be around y'all. I'm sorry. Once they get enough money, they are not gonna live around you or even be around you or share the same values. Let's get that out the way real quick.
So like rappers who make millions, they're just gonna get out of there as soon as possible. That's what you're saying, Zach?
Yeah, rappers is extreme. Let's not use celebrities. Let's use people who, a realtor or electrician or a guy with a good job, a decent Black man, and he live in a different area and it's not around Black people and his kids in private school and he worked his ass off to do all this. Let's be real.
So I'm sorry, make an announcement. This is not a panel for cowards.
I'm not a coward. I will protect people in general.
You just said you just said you walked past the situation and did nothing. So now you're saying you're not a coward.
So let me ask you a question. You was gonna stop 9/11 if you was in the building?
Huh? I served my country. If I had the ability to stop 9/11 or to be a part of stopping 9/11, I would have done it without hesitation.
I can agree with that, but I mean, are you gonna literally stop a plane with your hand? Let's be real. Come on.
You asked me a question, and I said if I had the ability, I would have done what I could to stop 9/11 from happening if I had the ability to do so.
Even
I'm not a coward at all. Look, let's get that real clear.
I didn't call you a coward. I just said this is not a panel for cowards. We're talking. No, I said this is not about. So I said if anyone is talking about not doing something, if a woman's being brutally attacked at a Harlem liquor store, they have no business on the panel because we're talking about solutions.
No. I agree with you, bro. I wouldn't have let them guys. They daring to put their mouth on her face.
Mm-hmm.
Notice I keep saying, bro. Those are the things that we speak about, y'all. Like. I don't even have a record. I don't even have a tattoo. I work 2 jobs, bro. Like I'm a genuine guy. I'm the perfect example, to be honest. But it's just certain like years ago, I've been in situations where it wasn't my business. I didn't pay attention, and so what? But y'all not finna attack a woman outside a liquor store because you dudes damn near acting like you rapists, and that's how I look at it. Like y'all guys acting like
thank you for being a better man. Thank you. That's outstanding.
No, I'm cool. I would have stood up just to make sure a woman was okay, but that's just me having nature. But It's not gonna take away what I think about black women because they do disrespect some black.
We're not
men.
dissing black women. Whoa. We're not doing that either.
No.
This the second part of the panel that I didn't neglect to say is this is not a bashing black women panel. So we're not cowards up here. We're not bashing black women. We're not doing none of that.
I'm not gonna bash them. I wouldn't say that.
Well,
Okay.
Zach, but here's the thing. You know, I've heard you say that you think that black women think that we're better than black men. The same thing that guy said to that woman right before he attacked her.
So what are you saying? What a coincidence. So what are you? What?
But here's the thing. Do you view women as people, as humans, as having their own thoughts, their own feelings, and having the right to their own thoughts and their own feelings?
Of course I have mothers, sisters, and I have a daughter myself. You know. So.
Look, Malcolm X said in 1964, he said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. Now I'm saying, has that improved or has that got worse?
Hold on, wait. Well, you do know you saying that, and you've been in this space. No thanks to the content creators, they would call you a simp, right?
Say that again. I can't hear you. Very low.
I say you do know saying that in this space, they would call you a simp.
Who would call me?
Who would call him a simp? I wouldn't call him a simp.
No, not y'all. I'm just making a point. Like, I understand y'all mentality and you want to do right. You want to have solutions, and that's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. That's actually honest. I'm just saying, him saying what he's saying, oh, the black woman is the most unprotected in certain spaces. In this space, they would call you a simp for saying that.
Why are you telling us this?
No, I'm just telling you that because
why are you telling us this?
The fact that some men be so sympathetic over women is I mean, you have to really question that because
are you questioning that?
Malcolm X said that.
He's gone. They murdered him. It's over with.
Wait a minute. Are you telling us this, or are you? Why are you telling us this information? What's the purpose?
I was making a point. I was just making a point because I heard that so many times. The phrase he said.
Well, I mean, are you saying that he's a simp?
No. I was saying in this space. I was making an example. Like I heard that.
When you say the space, about this panel, or what's going on? Like, what are you speaking for someone else, or are you a messenger? What's going on? See, Zach, I thought you were a great guy. Why are you calling him a simp directly?
I didn't call him, man. Come on,
Zach. I thought you were cool, man. What's going on? Why are you trying to?
I go to any panel and I'm cool.
You're on this panel. You're on this panel. We don't want to hear about other panels. It's rude. Yeah, stop telling us what other people might say. It seems like you're saying it, but you're just trying to say it indirectly. Stop doing that. I thought you were cool. Be cool. Be cool. We're talking about. Come on. I'm just giving you the side eye. We're talking about people being more like Joe Clark and standing up and protecting black women. Now, if you don't want to tell us what other people might say, we're like, well, what are you saying?
Okay, let me tell you what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is this.
Mm-hmm.
I respect where you're coming from. It's coming from a genuine place. I get that. Okay.
I appreciate that.
That's cool. However, you are very enthusiastic and sticking up for black women, and to me, it's kind of kissing their ass and
kissing their ass by saying that we shouldn't let black women be brutally attacked.
Really, Zach? Really, Zach?
Here we go. Here we go.
Zach, really throwing shade.
I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just saying.
But you're being disrespectful.
That was disrespectful, Zach. You owe him a apology.
Nah, y'all can drop me down. I'm just saying, y'all. I don't want to.
Don't run.
I love y'all.
Don't run. Don't run. This is not
an apology, Zach.
It's not a panel of cowards. Don't run away.
Cowards. Oh, wow.
Well, I'm just saying it's not a panel of cowards. I'm just saying don't run away. We don't want you to run away. You made your statement. We want you to stand up. Let's explain to us exactly what you mean as far as kissing black women's ass. What is wrong with protecting black women?
Unfortunately, us on a platform talking about protecting women ain't gonna really.
Do you believe in protecting black women?
Yes.
Zach, hold on. Before you answer that, Okay, what about black men on a platform just tearing down black women? See, you got a problem with this man on the platform saying that he want to protect black women, but do you have a problem with black men on the platform tearing down black women?
No, I have a problem with what Kevin is doing. You know, he's going too far at this point. Me and him was on the panel. We talked, and I mean, he's really cornered the market, and he's going too far. But he really break black women down so bad. I feel so bad for some of them women. Like, but I just sit back and I'd be like, oh wow, because you can't make this up either. Like, I thought it was a joke, y'all. I'm like, oh, this dude, he paying these women to get on here. That's not true. Black women getting on these platforms talking about wanting to have value men, making a fool out of their damn self. You guys will never do it, but unfortunately, it's just the reality. Like I
Are you
keep trying to
jealous
explain
or
to y'all.
something? Is it like a jealousy of why you're upset but women want high value men? Is it a jealousy thing? What's going
No,
on? What
no. But I mean, Kevin Show is a representation of the
Kevin
manosphere, and
Samuels? Is he here?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
here?
I mean, he'll be around.
Is he in the chat? Is he
He
on the
probably
panel?
will
Where he
join
at?
us.
Where he at though? Is Kevin Samuels here?
No, I'm just saying, no thanks to the space, this atmosphere is created where they feel like all black men are dogging black women. It's not true. It's not.
So Kevin Samuels is here.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know what the guy's doing. I was just making a point, but anyway.
Yeah, let's leave him out of this because right now we're talking about women brutally being attacked at a Harlem liquor store. And so Michael Israel, one of my favorite people, he says, dude, why are you always caping for women at Commendable K? Well, it's like this. It's like this. I don't know if you're one of Faith's or one of mine. I don't know how you got here, but you're here. And we're talking about a woman being brutally attacked at a Harlem liquor store. So if you're against stopping men from brutally attacking a woman, then you're no better than them. That's the reason why I say people that sit back and do nothing are part of the problem. So it's not caping for anyone. It's being decent and stopping someone from being brutalized and bit. So Michael, again, open panel. If you want to come up here and say your hate speech about women and make your little comments and even use profanity, go ahead. It's an open panel. But just know that we're not changing our stance of not wanting this to be a panel of cowards or a panel that is anti-black woman. We're not doing that. Thanks, but no thanks.
Hey, Sheila, you got anything to say?
So Miss Britt says, I love when folks try to talk about hair and beauty and spread false information. It's funny. Yeah, it is funny. It is funny.
But going back to something that Sheila E was talking about earlier, and she was talking about how we need to be more active in our communities. We need to kind of galvanize together and watch how we're voting and vote in some of these primary not the primaries, but the I forget I'm having a brain fart here, the type of elections that we need to vote in.
Yeah,
But the county elections, and I do agree with you on that because yesterday I think I was on Commendable K's panel, and I was upset about a lot of things that was going on with the Democrats. I really believe that they stole the election from Trump. That's just my personal opinion. Democracy has gone down the toilet. But you know what? We do need to hold our elected officials accountable, and the only way that you can do it is in these county elections.
right.
Kenneth Wright
And
said
this,
local elections, right?
and they're having them on Zoom too. So the budget came out and everything. Everything you want to know is on Zoom with your state, county, you know, governor. Anything you want to know about your county, your state, the budgets, just go right on Zoom and Google.
But Michael Israel saying a lot of stuff down here. I try to ignore the chat. but he's talking about he loved decent women. Decent women. I hate all those that by their actions are detrimental to the black race. And see, this is the thing, Michael Israel, you can come up, you can state your opinion. Nobody's going to attack you or anything like that. But it would be nice for you to come up on the panel and discuss it rather than us having to read and guess what you mean by what you're saying. Because you're saying a lot down in the peanut gallery. Why don't you come out of the peanut gallery like a man and say what you mean?
Thank you for letting me talk on this panel. It's been beautiful. I enjoyed it, and I sub to your channel, Faith, and peace. And I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, thank you, Muslim. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Take care, y'all.
So Michael Israel says the panel is biased. Huh? It's interesting that you say that when we've been reading your comments and responding. But, you know, again, this is not a panel of cowards. And we're here to talk about a woman being brutally attacked and what we could do to stop that. So you made a comment about what the solution would be. Well, intervening, stopping when you see stuff like that. We need more Joe Clarks. So if you need something more.
And it's not necessarily about changing anybody's minds, because, you know, you may not change anybody's mind, but it would be nice to have more clarification on what you're saying down there. Because, see, when people are reading, just like text messages, it could be misconstrued. I don't want to misconstrue what you're saying. It's a lot different when you can hear the person's voice and you can have a back and forth conversation. But right now we're reading what you're saying. And, you know, we have to, you know, go into our own understanding of what we're reading. There's not any type of clarification on anything that you're saying down there. But like I said, if you want to continue to, you know, talk from the peanut gallery, be our guest. But, you know, if we misinterpret anything that you're saying, you have been invited to come up and clarify, and you didn't. So that's on you.
So Kenneth Wright has a question. What can we do to prevent violence against our women? Well, if you see a woman being brutally attacked, you could jump in. Now, if you need me to do a step-by-step exactly what you would do during the situation, I can't do that because every situation is different. So you can learn how to fight. You can possibly get a way to protect yourself as far as a weapon if need be. Pick up something, call the police, record, do something. Because if you do nothing, then you allow your community to be closer and closer to the cancer being spread. So we can't tell you how to take care of your community and defend it. We just want you to do something as opposed to doing nothing. And if you're in a chat or on a YouTube panel and people are talking reckless against, let's say, black women, you step up and check them. You make yourself heard. That's what we're saying. We're saying to do something as opposed to making a bunch of excuses. So Michael Israel says he's probably a chatbot. Coward, peanut gallery, gaslighting, I won't bite. You know, funny you say you won't bite because the people in the story bit the woman. So now I'm thinking that you are almost making a somewhat comical situation of a woman being beat down and bitten. Joining the panel is Ken. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Faith, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Ken?
Hey, what's up, Sheila? And commendable, brother, commendable. I came up actually to speak with you.
What up?
Actually, we were actually talking about this on BMT's chat earlier today. And how can I look? I agree with you. I mean, I got daughters. I have a black wife. You know, I would step in. You know, if I have stepped in when I see something going on that, you know, that needs to be in me. Oh, here she is right here. What's up, babe? I'm so tired. She's tired. So anyways, here's the point. When it comes to what we could do, I agree with you. We need to step in if we see something happening. But like I said earlier, that is what we call reactive. How can we prevent? Because see, what you guys are saying is tantamount to men, men just how can I say um basically, I don't want to say pawns or or thanks, but or anything like that. But the point is, where's the preventative measures? That's my question.
So
Uh,
Sheila E is actually a great expert on that because she does lots of content and work in real life as far as creating policy. She's actually working to get reparations for New York. I've sat in on a couple of conference calls that she's had with different members of her group, and that's the main thing is policy. So in a time of being proactive and preventative policy, creating programs that can give people opportunity, get funding for your area, uh, get with people who are like-minded and talk to politicians and get funds together to vote with a block or vote as a block and fund campaigns. There's a whole host of different things you can do to somewhat get the hearts and minds of the people in the community so that they will choose to do desired behavior as opposed to undesired behavior. Even helping people get access to mental health facilities. Like, for example, D. Durrell is a mental health professional. Someone like him would try to work with people when they're young. Well, I don't think he works with the youth, but he would work with people to whoever wants to get help to help them deal with whatever mental problems they have. So between D. Durrell, people besides people like D. Durrell, Sheila E., even Faith with her YouTube channel, there's a whole host of different things that people are actually doing to provide programs, funding, and paths to desired behavior so that more people will be more influenced to go left as opposed to going right.
You know what? I mean, we have all those things that you described already. Everything you described, we have. What can we do to get these niggas off the street?
See, now that's reactive.
That's what I want to know.
See, once they commit a crime, now it's reactive. So I think what you really want to know is reactive. How do we get them off?
No, that is not reactive. Okay,
you're reacting to, like, if they commit a crime, then you have to get them off the street because they've committed the crime. You can't get them off the crime. You can't get them off the street before they do something.
Okay, so well, yeah, but the thing is so there's nothing basically you're saying we could do because like we doing all that stuff already, all that stuff, programs and and we doing all those things. We're doing all those things. If it's not working, then something got to change.
No, you lock them up. If someone commits a crime, you lock them up or
okay, but the woman has already been assaulted. Mm-hmm. Right? She's already been assaulted.
Right.
I don't want to see our women being assaulted. I don't want to see our men having to take penitentiary chances and risking their life, having to defend women against these weirdos. So like I said earlier, I'm gonna tell you what we need to do. Let these police do their job. Get these weirdos off the corner, standing there wasting time, not doing nothing, messing around. Just taking up precious air. Get these dudes off the street. There's no reason for them to be standing on the corner doing nothing like the people in this video. But see, when I say that, the very people that you talk about, they need to be support this and vote this and program this. They have a problem with that. So you know what? Something that my aunt used to say, we mortars for pain. We gluttons for punishment.
You know what, Ken? I actually agree with you on that because the loitering, I never understood why there has to be 10 guys standing on a corner in front of the convenience store that everybody has to walk to. I never understood that. And that happens a lot when I was growing up in Chicago. And they did pass gang loitering laws, but the people in the community fought it.
Yeah, see, and that's my point. I mean, again, brother, I'm on your side. I don't want to see nothing happen to say hi, babe.
Hi.
Okay, that's my beautiful wife.
Ken, nobody disagrees with you.
Okay, but no, I'm saying I have a stake in the game just like everybody else. Okay, I don't want anything happening to my girls, or but I don't want anything happening to my son. To the point to where if things can be avoided, we don't have to have these conversations. I mean, that kind of stuff is going to happen. It happens in every community, right? What happened to that woman was a heinous act, but it's my understanding. What I heard is that them dudes did that before.
Right.
If the community knows that them dudes did that before, something is wrong, very wrong in that community. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, for law enforcement to, let's say, get people away from a store, they have to be able to have the law on their side to execute that. So you got to get involved with the laws and policy of the local district. Next thing is, as far as cleaning up the community, if the majority of people in the community are somewhat, let's say, wanting the criminal element and they're defending it, then the cancer is already spread too great, and you got to leave. Or you can be like Joe Clark and do what you can to fight against them in every shape possible. But you have to understand that we're at war. So you have to continue to fight until you're no longer alive.
Exactly, Chaz B98. She says because people complain about policies that deal with crime and still complain about criminals. You have to pick a struggle. Exactly.
That's my point exactly. And I think we need to put that out there. That's why people call me a coon, because I don't mind the police harassing them dudes standing on the corner not doing nothing with their life. I don't mind it. I'm sorry, I just don't. Good. Get off the street. You could do the same thing you doing standing there, accosting women all day, messing with women and stuff like that, and wasting time. You can do that maybe you can't because you're at your mama's house. And you need to act like you're getting up and going and doing something throughout the day. And you come home and that's the problem. If them dudes wasn't able to stand out there and do nothing, we wouldn't have. I think a lot of these issues that we have, even with them, to me, I just see that as bullseyes because they end up beefing with somebody else, and these dudes end up catching them slipping because they just got to hang out. A lot of this stuff will be avoided if we start demanding that these people be held accountable for the actions that they're doing to lead up to when they start, infringing on the ability of a woman to be able to go to a store to, after work to get whatever she needs to get. Like I said, that needs to be stopped. I want to hit them dudes before they hit the women. Not during, not after, before.
I agree. The gang loitering laws in Chicago actually stopped a lot of the street violence as well. And then when the people came out talking about the police were harassing the boys standing on the corners, that right there kind of messed it up for everybody, because then after that they reversed the law. Then all of a sudden you had everybody just hanging and flocking everywhere. A lot of violence, a lot of harassment. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I agree 100%. Nip it in the bud before it happens. I would rather the police harass them than them harass me.
Facts. And that's what we need to be, like I said, my wife can attest to it. I'm not going to let if I see a woman being accosted or whatever, I will step in. I can't let that go. But by the same token, there's things that, as men that, we need to be, look, unfortunately, we're not supposed to be stepping in. You're supposed to call the police. That's the way things are set up. Let the police do their job. Let them be proactive and let them go out and do what they got to do. And then we can also support them. When we see, if you knew that these dudes was messing with women, right? We call them Karens now, right? Some of them women are extreme, but that's why they can't pull that stuff in certain communities, because people see stuff that look weird, man. They calling the cops. You know, they don't want to wait until we get something with that poor, you know, like that. What happened to that poor woman? You know, so that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna hop off. I'm enjoying the show. You know, Faith, great show as always. You know, commendable. You know, I love you, bro. You know, I'm with you. I agree with you. I'm just, trying to throw my 2 cents in. That's all. So
it's cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
we both agreed. So, but thanks
yeah.
for coming up. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for
All right.
coming up, Ken. Appreciate you. Okay, so Michael Israel says that the stop and frisk laws are racist.
They are.
I agree. I don't believe that anyone just walking down the street needs to be stopped and frisked. But what I will say is if you're standing in front of a convenience store and there's no bus stop there, there's no reason for you to be hanging outside of there for that long period of time. I think that there should be an eyebrow raise as to why you're hanging out there.
So Michael Israel
It's,
said, "Oh, go ahead."
yeah, because it's not like it's a park. You know, like people go to the park to hang out. You know, there are actual places that you can go to just hang out.
And it also go back to the owner too. You know, the owner of the store. That's his responsibility too. To let who he have around his stores in his store and stuff like that. Because if you having a lot of crime and a lot of people sitting around drinking and smoking at your store, why haven't he called the police? Why have he haven't you know, find protection security guard, hire security guard a couple of hours a day that make sure in his store is safety.
So Michael Israel says black women have babies with these guys. They love them. I'm confused. So we're actually confused as to what that has to do with anything. Because at the end of the day, women aren't having babies by themselves. And it's like this. We're wanting more people who are Joe Clarks, who will stand up against crime, especially the woman who was brutally attacked by the guys and bit in the face.
I
So,
wonder if Michael Israel's mother is a black woman.
or if he's black,
Right. Because
or if
he sure doesn't want to come up here, but he has a lot to say in the chat room.
is Michael Israel, are you anti-black woman or something? Is that like your deal?
And
Are
see
you
what they do. A lot of them come over to this space and they bash black women. That's what they do. They don't even be black. That's sad.
Michael Israel, are you really somebody else that we know? And that's the reason why you don't want to come up here for us to hear your voice? I think you're someone we know. I think you're someone we know. Question is, who are you really? Who are you really, Michael? Because this is not a panel of cowards. However, if you want to be a coward in the comments section, go, do you. I'm just sure that if we hear your voice, we would know exactly who you were, and that would reveal you for the snake that you are. So go ahead with your fake account. You can keep making your comments and type away with your misspellings and trying to hide behind an avatar and probably a fake name. But just know that we are not changing our position on black women being protected, including children. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and what kills me about guys with his talking points, they don't understand how ignorant they sound. You're sitting up here talking about black women have babies with these guys. Okay, well, your mom is a black woman. Your sister is a black woman. Now, I bet you he'll say, oh, except for the black women in my family. Not the black women in my family. Are they special? They're unicorns. But the rest of you black women, you're having babies with these guys. And like Commendable K said, it had nothing to do with why this woman was assaulted. Who black women procreate with. I have a right to procreate with whomever I want. I also have a right to go to a convenience store and not be assaulted.
Mm-hmm. He's
You see
saying,
how the two have nothing to do with each other.
yeah, this is a part of the problem that, we're talking about protecting, and he wants to destroy, saying that he would cuss, he couldn't control himself. He probably is one of the people who probably would put his mouth on a black woman because she turned him down. So Michael, who hurt you? Who turned you down that brought you to the stream, and now you're upset that you want to type away, that you want to throw out stereotypes, talking about some thugnificent, all this typing. Who
Right,
hurt you
and
and
let
turned
me
you down?
respond to that real quickly because he's talking about they love the Thugnificent. Well, the young lady in the video obviously don't love Thugnificent because she turned down Thugnificent's request to buy her a drink. She rejected Thugnificent, and that's the reason why he attacked her. The young lady walking down the street, passing the thug with the skateboard that hit her with it, she rejected his advances. So it kind of kills your theory about black women loving Thugnificent. So if we're rejecting Thugnificent and being assaulted, how is it that we also love them?
So Michael Israel says, you're very feminine in your way or reasoning, dude. So I believe a feminine man would project femininity on someone else because protecting is very masculine. And we're leaders up here. And again, we're not a panel of cowards. So if you want to stay in the chat and hide behind an avatar and be afraid, then just be afraid. But we only want to talk to people who are real and not fake. So keep being fake and keep typing away, because all you're doing is helping us have very interesting content. Right now, there's 15 people.
Oh, hey, D
in the chat.
Darrell. D Darrell is down there.
Yes, open panel, D Darrell, if you want to come up. Open panel. So joining the panel is Real Deal. What up?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Salute to everybody in the panel. Faith.
What's up, Real
Sheila.
Deal? So what do you think about this whole situation?
It makes me sick to my stomach because a lot of these dudes be going into tangents and rants, and it breeds irrational dudes that just go on these episodes and escapades of just violence, man. Like if we're talking about the scenario of the biting situation, a woman getting harassed around, I think it was in New York.
I could play the video if you want me to.
Well, I don't want to keep rehashing and replaying because I'm just coming in.
No. We about to get it in. This is actually gonna turn into a roast session pretty soon.
All right, for sure, man. Roll that beautiful
footage.
Oh,
I don't want to see. I can't.
Oh, Sheila, we were just enjoying you, but thank you for coming on the panel. I really appreciate it.
Sheila, I don't have your contact, but you have my email, so.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. You have to give it to me again.
Okay, no problem.
My sister had put it on her thing, and she done threw it out. I gotta get you on. Okay, put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm helping people doing business plans and business drives for their businesses. So a lot of this stuff is pretty much I saw early this morning. A lot of these dudes don't want to focus on anything that involves anything tangible when it comes to just a new mindset. Like these dudes just fall in love with hating. I don't get it.
Hi, D Darrell.
Hey sis, how you doing?
D Darrell, salute to you.
What's
welcome,
up?
Welcome to the panel, D.
What's up? Well, I'm gonna say this, and this was kind of like I'm gonna go back
They
to
hate
something.
they hate you, D Darrell.
You say what?
They hate you, D Darrell, man.
That's
For speaking
good.
up.
That mean I'm doing something right.
Yes, sir. Because you pretty much presented it before it even happened, man. It's sad that it had to come to that way, but somebody had to see it. Salute to you,
Yeah.
though.
I mean, you know, I'm gonna say this, man. It's like um when we're looking at when it comes to black women doing things, this certain space is going to always look at that a certain way, no matter what the evidence say, no matter how logically you may try to, state why something happened, break it down, make it make sense, and they're still going to look the other way and think whatever else. We was talking about this earlier. Like, if this would have been a woman of any other race doing this stuff, we wouldn't even have these issues. But when it comes to black women, they looked upon a certain way, and
Yes.
and again, like they said, too many dummies letting that panel stop. That's been to me, to be honest with you, when you really look at it, Faith, that's been like the mantra of 2020, and it seemed like it's filtering into 2021. There's a lot of
It's
people.
never ending.
Yeah, it's a lot of people on panels. Just matter of fact, man, I there's certain people with these ulterior motives, man. Like, you could be talking about one thing, and then somebody come in trying to change the subject on something unrelated. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. They'll change, and then they'll say stuff that don't make sense. Make take a subject out of left field. It's I don't know, man. It's just you see a lot of that. It's a lot of craziness going on panels. I think the worst thing StreamYard could did was open it up where you can have like 11 people on a panel. Because it's just too many people saying stuff. I mean, maybe content creators need to be more exclusive, where they kind of vet people based on just how you not let random people come on the panel, and I don't know, is just
Yes, something has to give because I don't think that everybody does necessarily needs to be heard.
you're right, they don't. I mean, that you can. I mean, my thing is that particularly if you know, um, you have no history, nobody really knows where 'cause like you said, that people come in here trolling, saying all kind of dumb stuff, saying stuff that don't make sense. You got people who they
Oh
everything they
no.
talk about is hate, 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 hate. You know, nothing positive to say about black women. I mean, it's sickening.
Okay, and then we have Mr. You know who Mr. Israel is. He's from your chat room, D. Darrell. Michael Israel.
Oh yeah, I know, Mike. Yeah, what's up, Mike?
He's been down there in the chat room
M-
saying some stuff.
Yeah, that's Mister. Don't mind paying for it.
Oh man,
Jordan,
we should not. Let's not get into that.
so joining the panel is Al Banks. How's it going? Welcome.
Good. How's it going?
Good.
Hello,
Welcome.
hello, Faith. I just wanted to say that I do agree that we do have to do something to protect our women more. But the laws in our state makes it very hard to do such because of the laws that have been passed with the government, the way they function it, as if like women can protect themselves if they live in certain areas because of the fact that they think it's high crime. Like going for a pistol permit, you got to go through certain stages to get such. And the way New York State ground laws is, it makes it hard for anybody to protect themselves here. So you have to call the cops. And then if you do fire your firearm at someone, God, you might not have to, but you could go to jail and you could be treated like a criminal, even though you were protecting someone. You know what I mean? So the laws that we have here have to change.
Well, okay. Well, what about and I've said this over and over again. why can't people just call the police when they see something going on?
Well, the cop, like I see some cops are just trigger happy. You know what I mean? Some cops just always got their hand on the can instead of having to talk it out. Back when I was growing up, it was like that. Cops always stop, freeze, or what you doing, But now they just, for some reason, they got this trigger on happy mind, so they think every time something happen, they gotta squeeze the trigger on somebody, and folks are scared of that, so they don't call the cops. And then I grew up we can't tell the cops you're a snitch and all that. Well, that law gotta be stopped too, because look what's happening. You know what I mean? So it gotta be a balance of having police and also being to trust your police and them not being trigger happy. So a lot of training, a lot of back and forth, pretty much working together, pretty much like having the community work with the police and be able to trust the police, build some type of foundation, because that trust is gone.
I mean, there is some anxiety, I do admit, in regards to calling the police, but this whole thing about this no snitching and all that kind of stuff, how are we going to have better neighborhoods if we allow the criminals to roam rampant without any accountability?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
totally
my
agree
thing is that I think, to me, I do think that there needs to be better training done on police, but I think that we cannot assume that you can have this thing where you can put the law in your own hands and deal with stuff. I mean,
Now, I totally agree, and I put it on your own hands. But the thing is, the trust has to be rebuilt with the police. Not saying that letting the criminals run the streets either. I mean, at the same time, folks that want to do something to help themselves as too. I mean, there's a lot of programs out there that the government did pass. I'm my tax dollars paying for it, but people are not taking advantage of it. Like there's job training for truck drivers that's free. There's also medical training for folks to go to the medical field that's free, so they don't have to be lazy anymore. But folks just gotta want to go out there and get it. I pay for that with my tax dollars, and I see all this money going to waste. I have a problem with that. Instead of them sitting on the corner, they could get training for jobs, but that are free. Truck driving jobs before was paying like $6,000, $7,000 for, depending on what level it is. But now they're giving it away for free. You could travel over cross country, driving truck and making decent money, just doing that. And that was not cheap. Now the New York State is giving it away for free. That's amazing. My tax dollars paying for that. So there's no reason why these dudes not trying to get no jobs and not trying to be proactive and not trying to be more family men. They don't have to run the streets, or not being able to, like me personally, like beating on women, that's a no-no. I will step in immediately. I don't have that. But my license only for upstate New York. It's not for New York City, so I couldn't carry it downstate. But at the end of the day, I do work a decent job and I do able to take care of a family. But I had to pay for all this training. Now they're giving it away for free, so there's no reason for anybody to be on the streets anymore. That's what I don't understand.
Excuse me, where you live at in upstate New York?
I live in Albany.
Okay, so you mean to tell me Albany giving out LCD
training
classes?
LCD training. What is the program called? It's called New York State Workforce Development. They got classes for health. They got classes for construction. They got classes for CDL. They're giving away for free because, especially
when they started this. Because I know everything closed up in upstate New York. Yeah. I'm upstate New York.
Yeah, before this pandemic, it was a lot of stuff going on for free, so it was no reason why. And then it hit the city first because that's what mainly started for the training, because a lot the city is packed.
I'm asking you, when did it start this? Because I keep up on this. When did it start this? Because I didn't see this.
All right, let me see. I can tell you, I don't know exactly when it started, but I do know I read about it, and it basically it started like a year or two ago.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff. There's no reason why anybody should be on the streets anymore. I mean, and start beating up on women. That's just insane to me, because I have sisters as well, and I also have a good. I'd be damned I let anybody put their hands on them. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you, brother. Commendable K, that we the community have to do better, the men, and also to give information out that you don't have to be, but you don't gotta sell drugs anymore. You don't have you can live being a decent person and having a decent job without having to have street credit, because at the end of the day, if they die, the same block's still gonna be there, and they don't own anything they fighting for. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it boils down to
Okay, I gotta swap trailers in a minute, but D Darrell, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's your boy. You see what your boy Michael down there talking about?
I feel it, man. I'm just letting him, I hear what he's saying, but there are a lot of people. The sad thing about that, Faith, there are a lot of people who have that same mindset about is just putting black men behind bars, but they're not looking at the act that actually put the behavior that needs to change. And if we don't change our mindset, those same people that's doing this behavior, they're never going to stop. The community going to continue to look the way it look. You're going to continue to have black men engaging in unproductive activity instead of being proper, being real, good, productive black men engaging in BS like this. The standard, man, we have to improve the standard of what we expect out of our men, because the hood should not be a desert of good men. It's almost like you find one out of 1,000, out of what I'm saying? It shouldn't be like that, and it is. And I say this, man. I'm not saying call the police for minor things, whatever, but if it's your life at risk, you have to take that chance. You have to call the police and allow them to do their job.
Exactly. I say lock them up, lock them all up, throw away the key.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, the information got to get out there that there are training for folks that don't have to be on the street. That those that are on the streets, they don't have to do that anymore. And it's up to us as men to be able to put that out there too. I put everybody on that I run across, but I don't. I'm not down. I'm not downstate. I'm not in Brooklyn. I'm not in Queens. I'm not in Long Island, Staten Island. I'm not down there like that. So I'm on the upstate New York. The problem is that the guys up here are taking advantage of it because they're getting it first, and the training should be down there as well. But for some reason, the information is not there. That's a problem.
Right. Well, the capital always gets the information first.
Yeah, but the city is bigger. I mean, the vote went down. Upstate voted for Trump. Downstate voted for Biden, and for some reason the state the city went with Biden. You know what I mean? So the whole state went with Biden because of the city overruled.
I'll get the information.
You see, man.
Yeah,
see,
that's
Mike, I interrupt, but see, Mike, they're still on these manosphere talking points. Talking about this stuff about black boys being raised without fathers. Well, those fathers need to stay their ass at home and quit leaving. You can't hold women responsible for men leaving out of their son's life.
Yeah.
Man, a matter of fact, today, Faith, I had a session. My last session today was with I was online doing a session, and I'm a lot of times when a lot of single black mothers, they want their sons that to be, or even the girls, the children, period, they like for black men to come in and to find, and it's not a lot of us that are in the field, but she was in a relationship, right? And she was with this guy that basically told her, I don't have to be there for my son because my father wasn't there for me and I turned out okay. That was his logic for not taking care of his own son that he created. And so now she's trying to navigate, trying to raise a 10-year-old black boy by herself and he gets mad every time she calls, wanting help. And so this shit with these guys saying all this crazy stuff, about you know about boys growing up without fathers, or they not allowing the mothers not allowing the fathers to do this and that. That shit is not true, man. This stuff is happening too much for them to keep saying this stuff over and over, and it's not accurate at all. And you're wanting black women to be super moms. They only can function in one manner, as the mother. You can't expect. And then when those that try to provide some level of trying to help, then they're acting too masculine. Well, what the hell you want them to do then? You damn if you do, damn if you don't. I mean, they trying to make the best of the situation they in.
Kind of responding what Al was saying, Al Banks, it all boils down to choice.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
How someone got to where they are mentally, physically, financially, whatever, that doesn't matter, because situations like when a woman being brutally attacked, if you see it happening or it's happened, we gotta execute. And they made a choice. The professionals, it's their job to unfuck them, whatever's going on in their mind or their background. But we gotta basically be, just like I've been saying over and over again, like Joe Clark, and we have to call the police or really intervene if someone is brave, because the more we sit back and do nothing, whether in real life and situations like this, we sit back and do nothing, or even on YouTube panels, people are talking reckless on YouTube panels, content creators letting people say whatever they want to say outside their neck. All this sitting back and letting all this stuff being said and being done is part of the reason why a lot of our communities have eroded and are doing poorly.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I totally agree. And then the leadership was going, well, we could bring it back, but the solution is like if there's a way to get like the cops to pretty much have like well, they used to do block parties back in the days. I don't know, they don't do it no more, but they used to do block parties when they had to have the police involved, and they did like different activities so that they can build that trust back. I hope they bring that program back, because that would have been great to show them that, we're not bad. Because it's just regular people as well. Because even they put on a uniform and carry a gun, that doesn't make them bad. You know what I'm saying? It's the fact that the trust is going, because they think the cops are trigger happy, or they just going into these neighborhoods to harass black people. That's not true. They just got a job to do, and whoever their chief is, whoever they training should train them better and how to talk to folks too. Because like I said, I grew up, we trust the cops. We used to trust the cops all the time. They was cool. They had black parties and they protected the neighborhood. Now, some got put on uniform and badge. They become something different with the new trend they got going on. It got to change. Go back. I say go back to the old way.
It's the same thing with the cops. If the cops make a choice to break the law or they're harassing, then they got to be reported too. We got to do a better job in reporting them at their precinct, because if we sit back and complain, they're going to continue to do what they want to do as far as the bad apples, and they're a part of the problem of eroding eroding our communities. So the thing is, we have to be proactive, and we gotta execute. And that's why I say, as far as, protecting black women, protecting children, we have to first start off by mentally accepting that we as men, it is our responsibility to do that. Even on YouTube panels, hearing black men drag black women and say stuff like genocide to all black women and all that bullshit, we gotta actively stand up and stand against that kind of stuff. Even in the comment section, even with Michael Israel, with all his bullshit, we got to stand up and continue to hold the line, because we basically are at war.
I know, there was a time when we could block people like that. You got listen to them no more. We could just block them out the chat. I don't know if y'all do.
No, we still can't block him at the chat, but I mean, it's like, I want him in the chat. I mean, it's face chat. It's face chat. I want him to come on the panel. We can have a discussion. He's going to cuss me if he comes up here. I'm like, come up here and cuss me. You know, do what you want to do. But this is not a panel of cowards. So
Yeah,
if anyone's a coward, then don't come on the panel. I've already told him that, and he just chose to stay in the chat. So I guess he's a coward. I don't know. But
Yeah,
that's the thing. We're focused on, you know, even though black people in the past were one way or another way, we can do that now, especially men. The first step is we as men accepting that we are the stronger between the two genders and we have to be leaders. That's it.
And that's another thing that's going too. The like I said, the leadership from the home, from the men is going, but now, you know, they said the birth rate is like kind of down because of the fact that a lot of folks not having children now. But the thing is, my generation want to be able to be there for their children. We don't want to, like me personally, I'm not having kids unless I'm married. You know what I mean? So that's basically what it is. I want that foundation. So it starts from being firm for what you want, and then making sure you get the woman that's true to you, that's able to marry. Because like I said, you got to be qualified. You know, you just can't just think and person making $100,000 a year and pretty much and I got to own homes and property like I do. You think you just can't walk up and just think, you know, spread your legs, it's gonna be okay. No, it's work involved. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it is. And some women are fit for the job, and some women are not. But the thing is, being meeting a woman that I can have kids with, she's gonna be treated like a queen across the board. And I wish the motherfucker would disrespect her. You know what I mean?
That's why we got to work with professionals like D. Durrell. He's on the panel. You know, work with professionals like D. Durrell. Also work with, you know, school teachers in the community, even people like Sheila E., who are pillars in the community. We got to work with them while, you know, during the being proactive point in time, because when we get the story like we're seeing about the woman being brutalized in Harlem, by that time we're reactive, and now we as a community got to come together and understand that people who are committing crime, they have to be removed, because one thing can grow into something larger, and then it creates something very, very large, and now it's affecting more than just little instances here and there.
Yeah,
So, you know, mental health is a big thing, because these guys in the story had more than likely, you know, I'm not a professional, but they more than likely have mental health issues. So we got to, as a people, push mental health, push for people to talk to professionals, you know, we all the time, even if someone's going through something, like, hey, have you had a mental health evaluation? Maybe you should go talk to someone. You know, just little stuff like that can possibly have someone go talk to someone and prevent them from wanting to go bite someone after a woman turns them down. Even with the YouTube panels, you know, if you're in a YouTube chat or on a panel and you're hearing people wig out, you know, we all know about how the manosphere is. We should have the conversation like, hey, what you're going through, you're calling it red pill rage, but have you really talked to someone professionally? And if they're making excuses as to why they don't want to talk to someone, you basically have to make a choice. Either you continue to support someone, or you can continue to push mental health, because I guarantee that the guys that were saying to the woman, you think you're better than us, is more than likely people in the neighborhood knew that they were quote unquote crazy, but really didn't do anything to help them get mental health.
Wow, yeah, you're right. You're right, and I totally agree, because mental health is a big issue, especially in our community. We got people going schizophrenia. We got people that's going getting nervous breakdowns and everything else. So that is a problem.
Yes, Miss Britt says he's just afraid. He's probably a white woman for all we know. There's a lot of race tourism. You know, you got avatars and stuff running around here doing basically the most. And, you know, Michael, he basically is an avatar at this point. So if he wants to stay in the chat and be entertainment for the night, that's okay. But the main focus is we as a people need to take a stand against black men harming black women. That's what the takeaway of this situation is. And to act if you see something and intervene. Don't say, well, if she ain't sleeping with me, I'm not going to step in and do nothing. Because if you have that attitude, you're going to allow stuff to happen. And then what ends up happening is that small crime that you thought was no big deal, that criminal does larger stuff. And then that becomes an even larger cancer, and that can hurt your community sooner or later. And if your community turns to shit, then next thing you know, here comes the property value being lowered and gentrification. So everything that's large starts out small, and you can stop the forest fire by getting rid of the small blaze. Michael Israel says, You need to work in getting families. All you're doing is mopping up the water from blah blah blah. Michael, come on.
Well, you know what? Michael is in the peanut gallery and he didn't come up. So, I think we need to start ignoring him. But to the point that I wanted to make, and I'm back. I'm sorry, guys. I had to do a little work real quick with dropping and swapping these trailers out here.
Man, no
But I'm
problem.
back. How do you guys feel about because I'm thinking about whenever I hear black men saying derogatory things to black women and doing things like this to black women, I think we need to start considering them the same way that we consider racists.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that?
I
I
agree.
I agree.
I have to agree. These motherfuckers is so crazy. I'm sorry. I usually am the first one to talk about freedom of speech, but Jesus, these dudes make it so hard.
Yeah, discrimination is discrimination.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Anybody who's discriminating, whether it be colorism, anti-black man or anti-black woman rhetoric, or just discriminating, period, they should all be put in the same category as being discriminatory, and they need to be canceled or be dealt with, whatever fashion someone wants to choose. But the same way that we hate racism and hate racists, we should look at people who discriminate in general in that fashion.
Exactly, because it's the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing. You're hating black women simply for being black women. It's the same as white people hating you simply for being black.
Yeah.
Faith, you're a trucker. Am I wrong?
Yes, I drive trucks for a living.
Oh, okay, Faith. This is Real Deal Financial, and I was looking at some trucking stocks, and I was pretty much wanting to get your quick opinion. I know it's off topic as hell, but this is business oriented. So, when it comes to trucking companies, are there any trucking companies that take ex-convicts? Because I was looking at something at the financial news, and there's corporations that's trying to reach out for ex-convicts when it comes to putting them up to work.
Yeah, there are plenty of trucking companies that will take ex-convicts, but it really depends on the type of crime as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Commendable. I know this is literally off topic, but I'm the financial guy. Yo. Yo.
Who is that?
I don't know.
We're good. I muted him. He fell asleep on us. But no, it's okay. In the beginning, I was like, hey, we're not gonna change the subject. I think at this point we've kind of exhausted the topic, and we're pretty much just like hanging out at this point.
Yeah, I'm the financial dude, so I'm always gonna ask certain information when it comes to specific industries. So I pretty much compiled a list of all the stock companies that's gonna potentially benefit off of new stimulus money and a Biden administration.
Okay.
So I was pretty much asking on the companies and corporations involving in trucking that actually is more lenient and allows ex-convicts to be able to do local trucking stuff. So I'm just glad to do some
I would have to say what company doesn't. I mean, to be honest with you, as long as it's not like a super violent crime, like say for instance, violence against women, violence against children. You're not running around here, just something totally like you haven't murdered somebody. Most trucking companies will hire you. There are plenty of ex-cons driving trucks out here. So this is like the industry for criminals, basically. Most truck drivers are ex-cons.
Man, my man fell asleep though. I thought he was awake. He was awake like 10 minutes ago. He was actively talking and awake. I don't see how he fell asleep that quick.
Was that D Rail snoring?
Yeah, that was brother D.
Yeah, D Rail will fall asleep in a heartbeat. He did that
Well,
another time.
man, but
So if we don't have
I had a
anything else,
I
panel.
told him he an old man.
Yeah,
so if
I also want to say
hold
this.
on, hold on. So if we don't have anything else, y'all want to do closing thoughts?
Okay. Well, my closing thoughts would be saying that we also got to hold accountable at the local level as well for what's going on with the policies that are made from stopping men from protecting their community. Because something wrong, it doesn't matter black, white, whatever. Anybody should be able to protect their loved one, but the government system that like we live like in New York State makes it very hard to, just because you don't know what the criminals are holding. They might have a knife, they might have a gun. You can protect the woman, then next thing you know, you get in, so you got to defend yourself. You get a shot, and they get away. And then the law that they made with this bail reform, so they kill somebody, they can get out the same day or the next day without going through the court system. Something's wrong there as well. So we got to hold our local governments accountable.
I agree.
Outstanding. So,
Respect.
so Al Banks, really appreciate you for joining the panel and giving us your insight. Really appreciate it. Come back all the time.
I definitely will. I definitely will. So you have a great night. Nice talk to you, Faith, and all the best to all of you.
Hua.
All right. Thank you for joining us. All right, who's
Oh,
next?
and real deal, Sheila E says your email's not working.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me type it in the chat real quick, brief.
All right.
I had a panel yesterday, man. These dudes was trying to make it about females all day. I'm like, man, please stop with this red pill stuff, man. Y'all be exhausting me the hell out of this. It's not even my concept of my channel. We trying to talk about stocks, real estate, specific companies and businesses to buy, and dudes want to bring that over there. It's exhausting. So that's why, Faith, I actually agree with your point. Due to the fact that a lot of these dudes be going overboard when it comes to their rhetoric.
That the end of your final thought?
It's my final thought, man. Salute to you, everybody. Everything. I hope everything is going well with your weekend. Everybody have a blessed night. It's 1 o'clock in my area, so I gotta get to bed.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know it's pretty late, especially when over here on the West Coast and on the East Coast. I know you guys are later than it is over here, so I appreciate you stopping.
Respect to everybody. Nothing but peace and blessings. And CK, we need to do a show together, man.
Hua. I agree. Appreciate you.
You drinking brown liquor or clear liquor, man? I got the Smirnoff. I got the Smirnoff.
Oh, me? No, I'm not drinking anything.
Salute to everybody, though. Peace and blessings.
Cool.
Right,
Yeah, come back all the time.
Do come again.
So, the faith factor. Any final thoughts? Any words of encouragement?
Man, I just would like to encourage people to not be afraid to step in and do something. If you feel like your life is going to be in danger, don't put your life in danger, but don't nothing either. We don't have cell phones in this day and age. Everybody has a cell phone. You can incognito, boom, hit 911. Hey, I'm on the corner of Halsted and 91st Street, and I see somebody being assaulted here. It looks pretty bad. Get the police over here. It wouldn't hurt you to do that, but to do nothing is unforgivable. To do nothing increases the crime in your environment. To do nothing means could be you or somebody in your family. It like committable case said, it makes no difference if you getting home safely, but then your loved ones have to go back out there in the world eventually, and you cannot be with them everywhere they go. So making sure the environment is safe, that is the responsibility of everybody. But primarily it is the men that make the safety of the environment, period. And those are my final thoughts.
Cool. So a long time ago, when I was in junior high school, there were people who would get bullied. And there were people who would help the bully, people who would sit back and watch, maybe even laugh. And then you got people who would make excuses as to why the person who got bullied should be bullied. Either way, there wasn't many people who would stick up for someone being bullied. And sooner or later, the bully got worse and worse and picked on more and more people. And then people started getting their arms broke. And the bully had gangs join in with activities, and the school went to shit with the graffiti and different things. It was a whole bunch of things that happened, and it was because good people sat back and did nothing, or made excuses, or joined in and did everything except for stopping it. And so the takeaway for tonight should be that if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. And we're not telling you that you have to do anything. It's in your best interest to help out your community, even if it means stepping in and stopping stuff the best way you can, or preparing yourself just in case you have to step in and do something, because it's your community. And the more you do, or the less you do, the more that's going to happen. And then you may end up for a situation that you have a cancer in your community, and that cancer may increase, and you turn into a situation where your community goes to crap. So that's what you should have for the takeaway. The story happened, and it's very tragic, and it should anger you. It should motivate you to want to prevent stuff like that from happening, because if it happens to one person, it happens to us all, because it's going to affect you directly or indirectly, one way or another. So do your part to protect your own community, to protect yourselves and each other. And that's it. So that's pretty much it. Faith and I did a joint stream. I think it was very, very well. Thank you for everyone who showed up. Thank you for D. Darrell from coming on the panel, The Real Deal Financial, Sheila E., The Quiet Storm. Also, Al for stopping in. Even Zach, stay focused. I don't know if I missed anybody else. Did I miss anybody, Faith?
I think so. I don't think so. I think you got everybody.
Okay.
Even Michael Yisrael down there in the chat room trolling.
Yes. Thank you, Blur Monster, Miss Britt, Michael Israel. Thank you, Sheila E. again. Also, let's see. Also D. Darrell, Al Banks. Thank you for stopping in.
I think I saw Rudem come through here earlier. I couldn't say much because there were other people talking on the panel, but shout out to Rude for stopping through as well.
And thank you, Chaz B98. Let's see. Thank you, Kenneth Wright.
What is Michael Israel talking about? Deuce's Faith, I hope you find happiness soon. This guy.
Thank you, Vintage Gardens. That's all for Faith's chat. And thank you, Underground Steez. Thank you, Real Deal Financial. Thank you, Kevin Walter, for stopping in. Also, Nikki Pooh. Uppity Unicorn, thank you for stopping in, Sir Senior, and that's everybody. So yes, thank you for everybody coming out and supporting. Please come out again. Support. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell, ding the dong, bing the bong, all that great stuff. Please share the stream. Please help us grow the channels. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Go forth, do great things. Also, Faith has a show she's doing later on today on January 23rd, which it should be Saturday for everybody. Her and Love Wisdom have something going on. It's going to be a great stream. Look out for the preview for that. Is anyone else have anything going on? Did I miss anything, Faith? You got anything else besides the stream with you and Love Wisdom later on?
No, that's about it. Unless you and I do a dark side of dating. After that, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, Faith and Love Wisdom have a show. Definitely check that out. Subscribe to both our channels. Subscribe to the Faith Factor YouTube channel. Also subscribe to the Commendable K YouTube channel. Come on, and we are out.
All right, peace.
I thought I had some music. Let's see.